Can Victor Wembanyama win the Defensive Player of the Year award? It is a lot of speculation that he is the front runner to win the award, especially after the way he performed last year. But will he be able to not only perform as well, but even better this year and win the award over people like Anthony Davis, Bam Adebayo, Jaden McDaniels, Herb Jones, Evan Mobley, and Rudy Gobert?
Jaren Jackson Jr. died. He's not on your list.
I forgot Marcus Smart won the Defensive Player of the Year award too. He's still alive as well.
Amen Thompson. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
I think a better question is, can somebody else beat him? I would take Victor Wembanyama over the field right now.
I think there's always a difference between best defender in the league and defensive player of the year. I think if I was a betting man, I think Wemby being the best defender in the league next year is something. I don't know if I'd put money on it, but I definitely wouldn't put money against it, basically. I think that's very possible. But being the defensive player of the year, is the team's defense going to be good enough to where the voters are going to want to pick him? Or are the Spurs not going to be good? Is he going to play 65 games? All of those things go into, do I think he's going to be the defensive player of the year? More so than if he's just the best defender in the league. The amount of times I've seen, in my opinion, the defensive player of the year go to someone who wasn't the best defender in the league. I don't think that's how it goes very often. So I wouldn't be surprised if Wemby didn't win it to the point where I wouldn't put money on. Yeah.
Well, Mars, you said it countless times. In fact, you ran it down to me when we talked about the league MVP being the best player in the league. How often is it the best player in the league as opposed to it just being the guy who's the most valuable to his team's success? The problem with the league MVP is that the best player in the league does win it. So that's what it's tied to. So with the defensive player of the year, sometimes the best defensive player in the game does win it, but that's what they categorize it as, you being the best defensive player, even though the best defensive player more times than not has not won it. I mean, and you guys, both you and Penn, in your estimation, was Jaren Jackson the best defensive player in the game?
You could make an outside, no, in 23. You can make an outside argument. I wouldn't pick him, but you could make an outside argument for it. I mean, I would. Tim Duncan.
There's voter fatigue, right? There's voter fatigue when a guy's won it a few times. You don't want to give it to him. There's narrative bias, right? Let's also be real. Defensive analytics suck.
Yes.
Generally speaking, they're really bad. So what are we really measuring, right? And I
Penn, wait a minute. Expand on that defensive analytics suck. I don't know. I want to make sure that the people understand what you mean when you say the defensive analytics suck. Well, like, what are we going off of?
Defense is a team thing, right?
Sure.
And you try to isolate the individual from the team, and it's very difficult, right? A player who plays on a great team is going to have an easier time on defense. For instance, if you're a rim protector and you have great point of attack defenders, your job is much easier. What Ben Wallace had to do because of Tayshaun Prince, it became a lot easier. When he went to Chicago, he didn't have Tayshaun Prince, didn't have that elite defense, didn't have Rasheed Wallace. Wasn't the same Ben Wallace. You could say he got older.
He's older, sure.
But I think
still had the #1 defense in the league in Chicago. But.
By the way,
I mean, Joakim Noah's no joke. There's a lot of good defenders there too, right? So what I'm saying is, I think that when you're talking about a guy getting robbed for Defensive Player of the Year, sometimes they could be the best defender, but they don't have the raw totals. They don't have a ton of steals, ton of blocks. They don't have the narrative. Really, that's what it comes down to, right? With Wemby, he's gonna have the blocks, and he's gonna have a ton of steals, right? So you and then there is the team success element of this as well, right? So you're going to disproportionately give a lot of credit to the guy who gets the finishing play on defense as opposed to the guy who creates it. I'll give you an example. Let's say for the Knicks, let's say OG Anunoby is going to be pressuring the basketball and he's going to be making the offensive player really uncomfortable.
Sure.
And let's say that offensive player, because he's uncomfortable, he throws an errant pass and Mikal Bridges gets the steal because he's gapping the passing lane. Without, like, who's responsible for that turnover, right? Two schools of thought, right? It's the same thing if OG Anunoby pushes his guy towards the baseline and Mitchell Robinson gets a block. We give credit to that possession to Mitchell Robinson. But OG Anunoby had a lot to do with that. So when you try to isolate that contribution from an analytics perspective, it becomes very difficult.
Well, Penn, isn't that where the separation comes in, where when this guy is off the floor, how effective these guys are? And that's where you separate these players. For example, when you talk about what was going on in 21 with Rudy Gobert and the Utah Jazz, I mean, with Royce O'Neal and Ingles and Jordan Clarkson, I mean, they were bottom 5 defense. Why are they a bottom 5 defense with Rudy off the floor? Because Rudy is such a good rim protector. He cleans up so many more of their messes. Not only does he clean up more of their messes, they're more confident as a unit on the perimeter. They're more confident as a unit in the paint, because I got a guy like this to clean up my messes. So to your point, when you talk about OG Anunoby, his ability to get in the passing lane and disrupt the guy. Well, you know what that means with Mikal Bridges? Well, I'm going to get up higher, because now I know that this guy that he's covering, he's going to panic. It's kind of like a pass rusher in football. I know that this guy is going to panic, and I know that he's going to do something errant. And that's going to make me be more aggressive, because he's doing that. That's the impact that OG Anunoby has on that defense. I feel like that's the same logic when you're talking about guys like Rudy, when you're talking about guys like Anthony Davis. I feel like that's the same logic when you're singling out a guy. I think the problem is, and I want you to keep going on this, Penn, but I think the problem is when we have the best defensive player in the game, you have to show that individually. Okay, I can appreciate your impact on your unit, but when you get a matchup, you have to handle your matchup. Getting dominated, I think that's where the problem is.
There's too much to defense, right? And I think that this is going to be a great episode where we can really lay out, hopefully, and very intelligently and without screaming over each other and screaming into our mics, about what defense really is. I'll tell you right now, 20% of the equation on defense starts on offense. That's a pretty weird thing, but let me explain.
I'm listening.
If you're a high turnover player, you're stress on your defense, because now your defense is always in transition. I'll tell you, at least 20% of my equation is defensive positional versatility, which we almost never talk about. What is the value of being a 99th percentile defender at your position, but having 0% chance at any other position? What if you can only guard point guards, but on a 2, 3, 4, 5, you're smoked? Well, now in transition, I got to help you a lot, because if you get cross-matched, I have to scram switch down to the post. So what's the value of a Jason Tatum who can guard 4 or 5 positions,
Sure,
versus a guy like Derek White who can only guard 3 positions?
Let me ask you this though, Penn. Not to interrupt you. I want you to keep going, but I can counter that by, if I can only guard point guards, but what if that's the toughest position in the game? With it being the toughest position in the game, and I got to deal with way more difficult assignments than you do at the 4 spot or you do at the 5 spot. Now I don't have to be as switchable more than I have to deal primarily with my matchup. Prime example would be,
but you can never just deal with your matchup, because if I know that you can only guard point guards, you are one screen away from being in trouble every time.
I see that's where the problem is, because and I was getting to that when I talk about Damian Lillard, how he dies on screens, and he makes himself switchable, where we end up seeing Brook Lopez 24 feet away from the basket on Tyrese Halliburton. That shouldn't happen. He should be able to get around screens. Don't get me wrong. I know that when I'm dealing with Bam Adebayo screening me, it's not as simple to get around a screen, but I should be able to get around screens more often than just dying on them.
Screen navigation is a part of defense, right? You talking about individual defense. I think our eyes, as people who've played, high school basketball, college basketball, maybe D2 basketball, I think a lot of our eyes go towards guys who shuffle their feet, put in a lot of effort, put a lot of pressure at the point of attack. Guys who look like they're great defenders, like Patrick Beverley. You see a Patrick Beverley, you see a Davion Mitchell, you're like, that's a great defender. Do you see the difference between a Davion Mitchell and a Keon Ellis? That will come down to how well you read the game and how well you understand the game. And you'll understand how much better a Dyson Daniels or a Keon Ellis or Jalen Suggs is, because there are zones on the court, right? Sure. Another school of thought is, what's the most efficient place on the court? And do you guard that place, right? The goal of any offense for me is to get a layup. If I'm running an offense and I can get open layups or nearly open layups,
I'll take more open layups than threes. I will. I'll be lying to you if I said I did.
Absolutely. So a rim protector, a guy who can guard in the paint at an elite level like a Victor Wembanyama or a Rudy Gobert, might have a little bit more value. But what about a guard defender like a Dwayne Wade or a Jalen Suggs, who actually gives you a little bit of backline protection on defense? So Again, modern offenses are constantly trying to put the defense off balance. It really helps when you have defenders who cannot be put off balance. A guy like, I'm going to say Jason Tatum, because I'm talking to you, Jason Tatum, very difficult to put Jason Tatum off balance defensively. On the flip side, you get a guy like Domantas Sabonis, very easy to put him off balance. So there is a gap. There's a massive gap. Karl-Anthony Towns, very easy to put him off balance defensively. But if you go right to his strengths and you start getting your big to just bang on him inside and start posting him up like it's the 90s, then Karl-Anthony Towns is going to have a surprising amount of success because he's big and he's long. Put him in space, he's going to struggle. We all remember Luka Doncic spreading Rudy Gobert, the best defender in the league, and just pulling up from three. Yeah, he put Rudy Gobert in the one place where he couldn't guard him. But the difference here is Paul George in his prime would be a much better matchup in that situation, right? But for the vast majority of paint penetration, where the help side defender, also how do you account for help versus primary on ball? We don't talk about help very much. How much are you able to deter the drive? We don't talk about rim deterrence. I have seen defenders quit on a drive 40 feet from the basket because Victor Wembanyama is back there.
Seen that with Rudy too. There's a reason why they call him the Sniper Tower. Yep. Seen that with Rudy too.
But with Rudy, the difference is I can pull him out and just play with him. He doesn't move like Wemby.
No.
He don't move like Wemby. He don't move like Bam. With the difference with Bam and the difference with guys like that, even Draymond Green, Ben Simmons, when he was coherent and he was still a top 15, top 20 player for most people, those guys are impossible to shake. You can't pull them onto an area of the court where they're uncomfortable. You can't put a matchup on them where that guy's too strong for Ben Simmons. No, nobody was too strong for Ben Simmons. He pretty
actually
much
held his own against Giannis. He did. He actually would hold his own against Giannis. He did.
Exactly.
Gifted. I want to pull you into the conversation too, and I want to hear what you believe defensive value is all about.
Bet it up. First off, was good, chat. What's good to all of my panelists. Everyone make sure to tap in with the stream, like all that stuff. Happy to be here for this conversation about defense. I think today's episode is going to be good because defense is something that a lot of people look in the wrong areas for, in my mind. I think the value to defense isn't always just particularly on ball, but it's a lot of moving parts, right? Like the off ball movement, if you turn the ball over, transition, switching. There's just a lot of factors to what makes for a good defensive player. And I agree with what Penn said. I don't think the defensive stats tell you the true tape of the game. Even the advanced stats don't fully lay out the value in terms of what players give to their defense. It's really a thing that's more so defined by the eye test, but there's a lot of things that make for good overall defensive players. In my mind, the anchor is the most important part of your defense because twos are going to be the most efficient shot in basketball. So if you're able to make shots, have to shoot more perimeter shots, that's a more valuable, trait to stop. And having a good overall big in the paint enables your perimeter guys to play more pesky on the perimeter, which leads to you getting out more in transition, right? Getting more live steals. These are all things that intertwine with themselves. But to cherry pick what makes certain players better, it all depends on what they specialize in.
Who is my anchor though? Because when you talk about being an anchor, is it only the big guy? Because we've seen teams where, I'd like to think that James in 2013, he was the anchor of that defense, right? Even in 2009, I'd like to think James was the anchor of that defense. How about Bryant in 2008? Maybe 2008. How about Bryant being the anchor of that defense? Or was he better than Trevor Ariza at that time?
Was he better than Pau Gasol?
He was at the fourth best defender in that team.
Was he?
Yes.
I'm not here to start talking about Kirby's defense. Guys gonna get mad at me, so I'm just going.
No, Mars. This is what this is. This is what we're doing. We're not singling out Bryant. This is what we're not doing. We're not going to single out Bryant. We're talking about defensive anchors, right? So when I think of
instigation, this is massive. This is Kobe agenda.
No, this is not. I'm not even talking about Bryant. Okay, I'm talking about Ben Wallace, right? Ben Wallace was the anchor on that defense
yeah,
in 2004, 100%. Tim Duncan was the anchor on that defense in San Antonio. But I'd like to think that Ron Artest was that anchor on that defense in Indiana, even though Jermaine O'Neal was a damn good post defender. He was a damn good rim protector, right? So, I mean, where is your anchor? Who is your anchor? Is it predicated only to my big man? Scottie Pippen, to be, if I'm being honest with you, I mean, we can make the argument Scottie Pippen was the anchor on that defense in Chicago. As good as Jordan was as a defender, the argument can be made what Scottie Pippen was in terms of his versatility, right? His ability to switch, how good he was in terms of picking up full court. You can make the argument he was the anchor on that defense in Chicago, right?
Is the anchor the best defender? Or does it have to be the big?
I mean, normally the anchor is going to be the big,
but 95% of the
time it's the big man. Yeah,
but I don't think it's always the big. I think there's exceptions. But
I know Tim Duncan is who he is.
Yep.
I'm not even going to bring Bruce Bowen into this because Tim Duncan was still Tim Duncan.
Oh God.
Yes, but was Kawhi the anchor of that defense?
2014.
Yes. In 15, I mean, in 16, yes, he was. It wasn't LaMarcus Aldridge. It wasn't Ginobili. It was him. Tim Duncan was over. Duncan was gone.
I think he means when they went to the finals against the Heat, right?
Against
mean
LeBron,
14?
yeah.
I think Tim Duncan was the anchor, but I'm fine with Kawhi being the best defender on the team. I don't know if I think he was, but I'm fine with that. But I think Tim Duncan was the anchor. When I hear anchor, I think like it's the same way as like as the offense running through someone, but defensively, if that makes sense. Like everything around defense is revolving around that person's individual skill and what they do. So Rudy Gobert is a defensive anchor. For the Bucks, I think Giannis has been their best defender for the last however many years. But I think Brook Lopez was their anchor, if that makes sense. I think Tim Duncan was the defensive anchor for the Spurs, probably until the day he retired. But I think Kawhi, Tim Duncan's last 3 years, was probably the Spurs' best defender. So I think there's rare occasions where a wing and maybe a guard, but I don't think there's been many where a guard is the case where they've been the anchor in my eyes.
I think we got to establish, what exactly is the anchor, Mars? That's the guy who's the most solid, right? That's who's the guy who is the guy who, when we need a stop, this is the most solid guy that we can depend on. Not necessarily a stop. Let me rephrase that. I'm not going to say a stop, but this is because when you think about an anchor is solid. An anchor is the guy. An anchor is what you depend on. So if Tim Duncan is our anchor, he's the guy that whenever any of us do something wrong, he's going to clean this up. He's going to make sure that we're good, right? Shaq, he was their anchor. I feel like Shaq was their anchor on defense, right?
Yeah.
Whenever something goes wrong, okay, my big man, he's going to clean this up. Whenever something happens like that. But that could also be the case, I'd like to think, with Artest in Indiana. As good as Jermaine O'Neal was as a rim protector, as good as Jermaine O'Neal was as a glass cleaner, Artest was the anchor because he was able to clean up a lot of things on the perimeter and even in the paint because he would rebound also. He would make up for a lot of mishaps. If Jamal Tinsley got beat, Artest was there to help. Even if Jermaine O'Neal was occupied with, I don't know, Rasheed Wallace or somebody like that, Artest was there to help him. So I don't want to predicate the anchor only being to the big man. I do understand your logic about it being the big man, but when I think about the anchor being a perimeter player, I don't think it's ridiculous.
I don't think it's ridiculous. I think Scottie Pippen is one. I think Ron Artest is a good example. I'm proud of the belief that in 2022, Lonzo and Caruso were anchoring the Bulls defense. I think you can make the argument for Jason Kidd, but I'm also willing to entertain Kenyon Martin for the New Jersey Nets. Sean Marion on the 7 seconds or less Suns. I think there's examples of defensive anchors or close to it from the wing and less so the guard position. But I do think there's examples of it. I just think most of the time it's the big. But I don't think that means bigs are all more valuable than guards or the anchor is all more valuable than the other guys. I think you can be a more valuable defender while not being a defensive anchor. I don't think Kawhi has ever been a defensive anchor, but I think he's a better defender than guys who were defensive anchors. So I think that's just terminology. Personally, so I can call someone an anchor and someone not an anchor, but still think the person who's not an anchor is the better defender. It's just,
would you equate that? Because it sounds to me, Mars, what you're saying is it's like running the offense through a guy and then somebody else being the primary ball handler. That's kind of what it sounds like to me. Kind of like with Joker, we run the offense through Joker. Jamal Murray's the primary ball handler. Kawhi Leonard is the best. Kawhi Leonard is the best defender, but this is the guy who's anchoring our defense.
I think
the closest year for Kawhi, you can say he was an anchor. Yeah,
16 or 17, you can make the argument, I think.
Yeah. Mainly because his defense was so valuable during that season as well without Tim Duncan that teams would run specific actions to get Kawhi off of the ball handler, which is really impacting their overall defense in totality. So that year is probably the closest he's been to being considered a real anchor. I don't think anyone up here, Chill, is going to tell you that 100% of the time bigs have to be the anchor, but more times than not, they will be. If you're going to be like a championship team, your anchor most traditionally is going to be the big man. I would say more times than not.
I thought Kyle Lowry was the anchor defensively for the Raptors.
What years?
That was
when Mark Gasol
prior to Marc Gasol.
Okay. I was gonna ask you guys. This was gonna be my next question, and this actually stems right into what Penn is saying. I was gonna say, can a point guard actually be a defensive anchor, and have we seen any? Penn just brought up Kyle Lowry. Penn, can you explain why Kyle Lowry was the defensive anchor on that team?
Okay, so when I consider the anchor, a lot has been said about recovery. You know, the buck stops with this guy. I think a lot has to be made also of setting the tone for your defense. I think the leader of your defense would be a way to look at it, right? Dikembe Mutombo was the leader of your defense. He organized your defense, just like Jokic organizes the offense in Denver. He's shuffling pieces around. He's asking people to move. He's asking someone to cut. He's asking for a clear out on the weak side. That's your offensive anchor, if you want to use the same terminology, right? He may not always be your lead ball handler. He may not dribble the most. He may not even be your leading scorer. It doesn't really matter. He's organizing your offense. It is usually your best communicator on defense. Kyle Lowry was definitely that. It's the guy who sets the tone and pressure for your defense. So you know if this guy's pressing up, suddenly all the gaps start to close up a little bit. If this guy is like forcing middle, he's the one who's determining where your defensive possessions are going to end and how the help is going to help. And he's going to be the one dictating switch. You know, he's your smartest guy. He's the one you're looking to for how do we guard this? Who are we supposed to help? And that to me is, you know, why. And he's also, Kyle Lowry was also very underrated at the rim. He's a good, decent, like he wasn't getting a ton of blocks, but he would get like charges. I mean, what's more valuable, a block or a charge? You know what I mean? Like we talk about rim protectors. We don't. Kyle Lowry led the league in charges almost every single year.
Charges are huge, 100%.
Charges are huge. I block because it also gets the other team in foul trouble.
And it confirms you actually have possession of the block.
Yeah, you have to get the ball for sure.
Say that again, Ox. What you just said? Say that again. What you just said, Ox?
So it just depends. That could be equally as important. It depends on when it happens and like getting the ball after a block. It just depends on time, possession and time of possession and whatnot. But Kyle Lowry is definitely very effective. I always praise Kyle Lowry's ability to get timely charges. You know what I mean? Like Kyle Lowry's the type of point guard that would you know that this team might be on a quick run. Kyle Lowry might get a timely charge, not even at the paint though. Like Kyle Lowry get a paint
on the perimeter,
3-point line, come down, bang a big three, come get his hands in the next possession, maybe get a deflection, get a steal, come back, make a good swing pass, get somebody open for a good shot. Kyle Lowry in his peak was one of the best point guard defenders I had seen. And it wasn't just his ability just to stay in front of the ball or do whatever, just using his IQ. Even when he slowed down, like 2 years ago on Miami, Kyle Lowry was making huge plays for them.
Ox, I got a question for you real quick, right? Do you think an anchor has to provide actual protection at the rim? Like, is that a thing that is mandatory for you to consider a player their defensive anchor? Does it have to be that?
I think just like one of y'all said a minute ago, that's just the terminology. Like, that's just about, like, what do you consider a defensive anchor? Some people consider that being the defensive anchor. Some people consider I'm guarding the rim. I'm the anchor of everything. I don't look at it that way. I think Marcus Smart was a defensive anchor. I think Kyle Lowry was a defensive anchor. And also, I'm also of the belief that I'm giving you rim protection by staying in front of my man at the nail or coming down. Like that's the first line of rim protection. Even if I'm the big, I can't protect the rim to the best of my ability if you're just playing Ole Matador defense. You know what I mean? You have to stay in front of your man, and even if your man does drop to the rim, you still got to stay on his hip and keep your hands up so that I can come over and clean up that block shot. So it just depends on how you look at it. I don't know. I think your defensive anchor is the one that's holding us down. Like I know that I'm okay on the defensive end because I know this person can switch on anybody. This person is going to talk to me. He's going to let me know when cutters are coming. He's going to bump cutters. He's going to stay in front of his man. Most importantly, that's rule number one on defense. Stay in between your man and the basket. So if you're able to do all of those things, I think you can be a defensive anchor from any position. Like I said, Marcus Smart, Kyle Lowry, those guys.
I agree with Masenko G, his super chat. That's how I think I would define it. Yeah.
Anchor to defense is what floor general is to offense. Floor general isn't always the best offensive player, and vice versa. Yeah.
Which is gonna
L host, by the way, don't forget.
That was the main. That was the main part. I agree.
I didn't include L. I didn't listen.
Hey,
I wasn't going to include L host. I was. You know what I'm saying?
This is why I rock with you, Gifted, and this is honestly the reason why Gifted.
Trash.
I wasn't gonna point out the fact that Ox is talking about a good defender stays between their man and the ball.
No.
Because he wasn't able to do that when you was giving him buckets on PC weekend. Yeah, Ox, I just seen the footage yesterday of Gifted hitting that MJ fadeaway on you. I literally just watched it yesterday.
If he hit a fadeaway shot over me, then I was literally in between him and the basket.
No, he just faded away just to make it look good.
Shut up.
The footage is finna drop and you about to see.
He was an anchor in the defense.
Exactly. That's the point I'm trying to make.
You wasn't damn. You want to anchor? You want to anchor?
I don't anchor the defense no more.
Ox, you just brought up your rendition of Kyle Lowry, and I'm going to put you in a hot seat. Lowry or Rondo?
Defensively?
For what? What are we talking about here?
Exactly what you just got finished talking about. Yes.
Just defense? Oh, I got to go Kyle Lowry
over Rondo.
Ain't Kyle Lowry a better offensive player than Rondo?
I ain't talking about. No, I'm just talking about.
I'm just asking if he's a bad player. I'm just asking.
Oh yeah, Mars about to get in his bag right now.
No, I'm genuinely just asking if Kyle Lowry's a bad player.
I mean, it's just like I said, like I'm just going like at the peak, just going peak.
Yeah, right.
At their best, I gotta go with Kyle Lowry. I got to. I think Rajon Rondo probably was better on ball. You know,
I think that's close.
Better on ball, guarding the ball coming up and all that. Yeah. Rajon Rondo was a little quicker, longer. But I got to stay.
Lowry does stuff that you want to fight him, and I don't mean dirty stuff. I don't mean that. I don't mean dirty stuff. He just does stuff that stuff like that, where where now he just picked up a charge. That's your point guard's fourth foul in the middle of the third. He got to come out the game now.
And that's the thing too. I'm just trying to stay consistent with what I value on defense.
Right.
But Rajon Rondo's ball pressure though
his ball pressure was crazy, man.
Immaculate ball pressure. Damn, that's a tough one. But I think I can go with Lowry. I think with Lowry, I'm gonna have less defensive breakdowns. I'm gonna have less mistakes. I'm gonna have less gambling. You know what I mean? So I think Kyle Lowry is just a more solid defender. Where it's one of those things where I might, the ceiling here, but the floor here type thing. I think I'll go Kyle Lowry.
I think the average Rajon Rondo year defensively was better.
Okay.
The best defensive year for Lowry was probably the best among the two.
Okay.
But as overall players, it's not that close. But as defenders on their career, I give the slight edge to Rajon Rondo.
Let's talk about that switchability thing too, though, Pin, because Rajon he might have been long and being able to switch, but I think he a little light in the hindquarters. Whereas you don't have that issue with Kyle Lowry. Kyle Lowry could switch down to somebody that's trying to put him on the block, somebody that's trying to
guard Cat in the post. I see him guarding Cat in the post.
Right. You know what I'm saying? When you got a more grounded point guard that's lower center of gravity.
Kyle Lowry's a rare point guard. It's like him, the Marcus Smarts, those
he's
point
rare
guards that are built like defensive tackles.
It's very rare for anyone.
He's heavy in the draws. You know what I'm saying? Heavy in the draws, so he can sit down.
Are you saying that he has
Don't do it.
Ron,
Don't do it.
This is why the L host thing comes
Do it.
about. This is
I'm just trying to get. I'm trying to get further clarity on what Ox is talking about. He said he's heavy in the draws.
Clarify. I'm talking about UCLA softball team.
Got you. Okay.
You good? You good, Ron?
I got it now. I got it.
Okay.
Thank you for the clarification, Ox. But I want to ask you guys though, and this is stemming off the super chat.
Mm-hmm.
What's more valuable? And this was a PCL question actually, but I want to hear from all you guys. Off-ball defense or on-ball defense?
It depends.
That's rough. That's rough. You know what you taught, Ron. You're already taught on offense. Like, if I make the right move, this guy can't really stay in front of me, and I have to. So when I got the ball in the ISO, I'm really watching the help side defense because this dude, he doesn't have a chance.
Great offensive players.
Okay, how good an off-ball defender is your on-ball defender, and how good an on-ball defender is your off-ball defender? Because that matters to me. If I take a guy who's a great on-ball defender, but he's absolutely cheeks offensive, like off-ball, I'll take the off-ball defender. I will.
For example,
but what's more?
How about Davion Mitchell?
Okay.
Davion Mitchell is my example. Davion Mitchell is, again, guy who was in the Sacramento Kings, came out, of college, this reputation, off night, really insane mobility. He's like a football player on a basketball court. And he really is. He's a very rare type of athlete. Mm-hmm. He moves his feet with the best of them, east-west. He's pesky. He forces turnovers. When you watch him play, you think you might be watching the best defender in the league or the best guard defender in the league. Watch him when his man cuts and his man doesn't have the basketball. Watch him after a screen. And that's where the value of off-ball defense comes in, right? What do? Watch him if he has to switch down to the lower third when a big is rolling to the basket and he has to block that shot. That's where the value of a Jalen Suggs and a Keon Ellis comes in. That's where the value of a Dyson Daniels comes in. That's where the value of a Herb Jones and OG Anunoby comes in. And, again, he's bad at off-ball defense. So you could take a guy whose primary strength is on-ball defense and he's sufficient off-ball, and that's a really great player, like a Rajon Rondo, right? You take a guy whose primary is off-ball and team scheme defense, and they're good on-ball, but they're not great on-ball, like a Kyle Lowry. That's all right.
I think on-ball defense. I'm gonna take on-ball defense, right?
I'm gonna take off-ball defense because to me, off-ball defense is more manageable than having the physical traits to guard on ball. I think everyone at the NBA level can commit to being a good off-ball defender, and also the superstar offensive players are never looking at who's in front of them. They are focused on who the off-ball guy is at the paint. How are his feet, right? Like their goal is to really navigate them away from the paint. And if you have a terrible off-ball guy in that role, so much value is bled, right? We've seen it time and time again.
There's nothing more important than staying in front of your man, though. Like
being on a team, my first job is to do my job. I can't help you do your job until I do my job. And my job, if the ball is in front of me, I got to stay in front of the ball. Then I can help you do your job later on. But I have to do my job. And if I'm a cone or if I'm consistently getting beat, you as a help defender, that really doesn't matter because I'm still the liability out here.
Okay, but if I'm consistently getting beat off ball and it's just, super open backdoor cuts as well, that's also bleeding value.
But the difference with that, though, the difference with that gifted is that I can remedy that by being a damn good on-ball defender. I can remedy that by disrupting whatever this guy is doing on ball, so I can protect you in that aspect. If I can't, if the guy in front of me, if I can't stay in front of him, I'm already collapsing our defense. Already, I'm doing that. So
okay, and
even if you are a bad defender off ball, now you're even worse because I'm killing us because I'm putting you in a bad position.
Okay, and like the way that I would respond is like I hear that for sure, I do, but there's not going to be many on-ball guys at the highest level who can guard the best offensive players. I'm saying, regardless, you want to see a good. You want to see them, right? You want to see them. I would say be good. The issue though is when they get by, who your second line is at the paint really does matter at a high level. Also, good on-ball guys can still get into foul trouble. If you're a good off-ball guy, you're less likely to get fouled out of the game if you're playing off-ball the right way, and you stop so many problems from happening. I'll give you a prime example to all of the Lakers fans in the chat. Rui Hachimura's defense in the playoffs on Michael Porter Jr., who averaged 25 points per game in the series. In a series, by the way, where the entire Lakers team led more than they trailed. His off-ball defense was a huge factor in why they lost that series. Sure. A huge factor. Off-ball defense, to me, always is going to matter more in a vacuum simply because it's so much involved in everything. It matters a lot in those areas.
But when I also...
Yeah, but if
keep going, Ox, go ahead.
If we're all taking care of our business as far as our man, it's just that's the best way to have a dominant defense. Like if I know that I'm over here weak side and I know I have to help because this dude has no chance of staying in front of his man, regardless of their skill set. So I understand what you're saying. Like as far as great basketball players, you can still make a great player take a tough shot. You know what I mean? And like that's pretty much the best you can do. Like if I'm guarding somebody like Luka, the best I can do is make him take a tough shot. The best I can do is just contest when he steps back. That's pretty much all I can do. But if I'm weak side and I'm just watching, like let's talk WNBA. If I'm getting caught watching like how Chelsea I've seen Chelsea Gray and Kelsey Plum get caught watching multiple times in that series against New York where Jackie Young might have Sabrina boxed up, but at the last minute, boom, Courtney Vandersloot just cuts right behind Chelsea Gray, and because she's caught watching, and it's just like boom. So what are you doing over here? I'm doing my job at staying in front of my man. And then to the point a minute ago, Gifted, if for instance, if I'm on the block and I got a monster and I can't fight him, but I'm making it hard, I'm trying to get around, I'm putting my hands in there. If you're guarding his man and you're just kind of just playing like this, he's just gonna keep dumping it down to me, and I'm just getting killed on the block. If you're getting active, hands active, with pressure and ball pressure, that's not an easy pass. You know what I'm saying? There's been multiple times I might be playing with Ron and I'm begging Ron like, yo, you got to give him some pressure, bro. I got a monster down here, bro, and he's just catching it, just boom, hitting me in my chest. I need you pressure him to help me not let him get the ball no more. Like,
and I think that's a valid point. I just feel like off ball, right? Like there's ways to make up for your weaknesses on ball if you're on a rope as a 5-man, right? My problem is if you have a bad off ball guy, no matter what, if he's not directly involved in these actions, he's going to bleed value. We've seen many playoff games where this guy was ball watching at the wrong moment, score. Prime example. You saw Anthony Edwards go for the pass off ball, he misses it, they lose the game, right? We saw the OG Anunoby miracle shot off ball, right? Like these are things that are more controllable to me, and it scales at a high level. Most teams that win have very good off ball defensive players. I just think that even if you are good on ball, the best of the best offensively can still have their way. It matters about the second line after they get past that first one, to me, more at the highest level.
I can see that for sure.
That's actually why the Bulls beat the Suns, if you remember, in '93.
Yeah, that Charles Barkley. Yeah, that clown.
Barkley ends up overrunning the play. Scottie Pippen gets the ball. Yeah, now he goes downhill, gets the ball to Ho Grant, who fires it out to Paxson. Because why? Barkley ends up overrunning the play. Now my defense is crippled.
Yes. Like I have seen teams where they have a questionable on-ball guy, right? But the entire scheme is predicated on people communicating and understanding exactly where to be, and it makes up overall for that. If you have a good off-ball system in place to help each other and everyone is really properly rotating, you can still have great success.
I don't think you do, however, Gifted. I don't think you give enough credit. I mean, like you said, they're not many. I mean, there's over 400 guys that play in the NBA, sure. But I don't think we give credit. It's not just the guys who are on the all-league defensive team, Alex Caruso, Jalen Suggs, right? Jaden McDaniels. There's really good on-ball defenders in the game that we don't give enough credit to. Now, are they of the level of Alex Caruso? No, they're not that good. But they are guys who pressure the basketball. I like this kid Nembhard in in Indiana. I think he's a damn good on-ball defender. I think Neesmith is a damn good on-ball defender. He's going to cause
Fox.
this.
Got to go Keon Ellis.
De'Aaron Fox. You already heard what I said about him yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
He's a damn good on-ball defender. Keegan Murray. You know what I need to do also when we're talking about the Sacramento guy? I gotta start watching more Keegan Murray just as a defender. I don't watch him enough as a defender because you guys have been telling me how good he is as a defender, and I need to start watching more of him as a defender. I'm too busy watching Mike Brown take him out of the game because he won't shoot the ball. I need to start watching him more as a defender. So when I think about on-ball defenders, I just feel like in terms of the value that an on-ball defender gives, you being the point of attack and how you can completely disrupt the offense. And now, because I'm doing my job, that almost forces you, not force, I don't want to use the word force. What it does is it enhances you to do your job because now you can be more aggressive when I'm actually being what I am on the basketball. I think you can do more of that.
All right, fellas. This was a good first 40 minutes to kind of set the tone on what defense is, what we expect, and how people should play defense. First off, I want to salute everybody that's watching the show right now. Make sure you are liking the videos. Make sure you are subscribed to Player's Choice, and make sure you become a member. And speaking of which, shout out to our Hall of Famers. Y'all know Arch Prime. Y'all know Hunting Gilgores. Y'all know GDH DG. Y'all know Multi Kenny. Y'all know Cobra Son of Raditz, and y'all know Arch and his whole family. Salute to them. They are all Hall of Famers. But let's get back to it, fellas. It's time to dive into our Defensive Player of the Year list. You guys all send me your top 5. I compiled a list of, the top 5 predictions for DPOY, and we will see who we have winning Defensive Player of the Year.
Real quick,
right now.
Did you take the averages of all of our lists and?
Yeah.
How many players got mentions?
10.
Great question.
Ironically.
Okay.
10 different guys. Nice.
Yeah. So we will see if Victor Wembanyama can win Defensive Player of the Year. Or maybe it's Alex Caruso.
We should take a guess
Never
on who those 10 guys are.
You guys want to?
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
I think the locks are probably Bam.
Let's just go one each. Let's just go one each.
Okay, sure.
We'll just go around real quick, and Ron can say yes or no.
Bet it up. I'm gonna go with Bam.
Obviously, yeah.
Ox.
De'Aaron Fox.
Well, maybe Ox voted for him, so he was like, "Oh, I know he's gonna be there."
Penn.
He's not on the list. Herb Jones.
Herb is on there.
Okay.
Moss.
Chet.
Mobley.
Wait, is Chet on there?
Yeah, Chet's on there.
I know Chet's on there. I picked him.
Mobley's on there, yeah.
Anthony Davis.
Yep.
Okay, now we've run out of guys who I picked.
Alex Caruso's on there.
We haven't said Rudy yet.
Nah,
we have not.
No one said Rudy yet.
Not?
No, he's not.
Huh?
Oh, damn.
Caruso? Wait, Caruso's not there or Rudy's not there?
Caruso's not there.
Rudy
is there.
Okay, yeah. Word.
Damn.
I'm only picking
OG
Anunoby.
OG
I'm only
Anunoby?
picking people I didn't put on my list, y'all.
Damn,
We should.
OG.
That's
Okay.
what y'all should only pick people that you didn't put on your list. That makes it too.
Oh,
no.
Okay, that's what you're doing. Okay.
Well, my list is done now. Everyone's yeah.
I
don't know. Someone put
Rudy.
Jonathan Isaac. Jonathan Isaac.
Nope.
No, not for
Kawhi's on the list, bro.
Nah.
No.
Giannis.
I'm done, bro. I'm done.
Nah.
Let's just get to it, man. I don't know who it's gonna be. I don't know who it's gonna be. This
is a great who got snubbed. That's interesting.
Yeah. I'm curious.
Is Jordan Poole on the list?
Oh hell no. Jesus Christ. Poole?
I'm just kidding.
What about OG?
reeks.
OG's on the list, right?
Nah, I said OG. He said no.
This is
No,
crazy.
OG.
What's up with y'all?
You ain't picking either.
Okay.
Wait a minute, real quick to Ron. How many players are left on the list that we haven't called out yet?
Didn't make it because I.
It is
Wemby, Rudy,
2, 3 people.
3 people.
They're
Are
probably
they
10, 9, and 8.
Wemby?
Are they
Rudy,
in the East or the West?
Gifted, we gonna get to it. Well, hold on. Let me see.
Okay.
Just to answer your question,
Yeah.
all 3 of them are in the West.
All 3 of them in the West.
Oh,
Okay.
Luka, Kyrie, and Clay. There you go. Luka, Kyrie, and Clay.
Jesus Christ, that's disgusting.
That is the best
That's worse than
defensive
spoiled.
Wait,
That's
did
worse
you
than
did you ask
spoiled
Swiper
milk
for his
gifted.
list? Is Jokic on
During
his
the
list?
Western Conference.
Oh,
Nah.
DeMontis. God,
Ah!
DeMontis. How could I forget?
Western
Wait,
Conference.
did Swiper take part in this round?
Nah, it's just us 6.
So
Did someone say Kawhi?
yeah,
He
he
said
said
down on the
wise.
All right.
SGA.
Lou Dort?
No.
Let's get to the list, Ron.
Okay, we
All right, here we go.
I couldn't guess it. Okay.
The first honorable mention. And you guys mentioned his name already. It is Herb Jones.
Okay.
Yeah.
Word.
I am putting him on my list, but that's valid. Perfect.
Herb did receive a vote. Do we think that Herb can jump into this? Into talks.
I don't think they're
into
gonna
at
be
least
good enough.
talks.
I don't think they're.
I
gonna
don't
be good
think
enough.
so, but I think he's going to be very good at defense. I don't think he's going to be in the talks for the the final part of it
The
though.
Pels
He's not
aren't
a
going to
loud
be good enough
defender.
defensively.
He's not a very loud
Yeah.
defender.
You guys are about to see about these.
Can't we
Pels.
say the same? Well,
I'm telling you,
Pels-
y'all
I
about to
just
see
don't
about these
think
I
the
don't need
Pels
the
are gonna
Mars.
be good enough defensively.
I don't
That's
need
why
the
they
Mars.
don't get love.
But can I say the same thing with? I mean, as good as Wemby is, I mean, how good
That's
are the
my
Spurs
concern
going to be?
about Wemby. That's my concern.
And we
about
gonna
Wemby.
see about Wemby on this list.
That's why I think Wemby might not win.
Sure.
But Herb, I think, being a wing, so he's not going to have the counting stats. Then how bad I think the Pels probably will be on. The last 2 years, he's been carrying that defense.
Right.
Yes, yes.
Now I think they've gone even
like a
worse.
piano on his back, Mars.
And
By
now
the
I
way.
think they're
Yeah.
going even worse. So
But
it's like,
I agree.
if they were to make a move like Robert Williams, and if Robert Williams could play more than 56 games, you know, what I'm saying?
Claxton. How about that? How about that?
I don't think that that's a giving them Claxton to them. But Robert, I think if Robert Williams
Ain't
was
Robert
to come
Williams
down
hurt
there,
again?
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
that's what I said. That's what I said. If Robert Williams was to come down there and play 60 games, and if DeJounte Murray and Trey Murphy play some defense, I think Herb Jones has.
I think that's who the Knicks should try to go
Yeah.
get.
If the Pels had a good defense, he'd be in the running. Absolutely, because he's.
Yeah.
Well, I think
probably the
all
best
they're
player.
missing is that rim protection. A guy like
agree.
Robert Williams, and
I agree.
I know you two up top disagree, Chilla Mars, but DeJounte Murray can help him out this year.
Oh,
I
Ron,
hope you're right.
I got the name. You said 3 of them are in the West.
Why are you so
Is
eager to
Draymond.
guess it? We're gonna find out in about 2 minutes.
It's Draymond.
You're so eager to guess.
it's Draymond and it's probably JJJ. Those are my 2.
Yeah, but let's just get to the list though, Ron.
Like, he gonna tell you if you're right in 3 seconds.
I'm sorry. I'm just
Very eager.
excited a little bit.
All right.
Wait, who
the
voted for Herb?
next.
Who voted for Herb? Who had Herb on there?
I think that was okay,
Makes
chill.
sense, makes
Okay.
sense, makes sense.
I voted all bigs.
Me too.
Yeah, same.
Next. Jaden McDaniels.
Honorable
I
mention.
know that wasn't me. Yeah,
Yeah.
9.
Okay.
Who had him?
I don't hate it.
Hawks.
I don't
believe
hate it per
I
se.
believe I voted for J Man.
You
Let me
voted for
check
Jaden McDaniels, but not OG? You think Jaden McDaniels better defender than OG?
I do.
There's only 5 spots, Mars. I just had to.
No, that was just a genuine. Just if you think it's better.
I mean, in
Yeah.
hindsight, Mars, I forgot about OG, but
he might not play 65 games. That would be my see. That would be my reason. If
He might not play the games. Might not play the
I
games.
left him up. Yeah, I don't think OG gonna play 65. That's
OG
what
I didn't have him on there because of that for me. Yeah.
65.
I do think
When's the
J Mac's
last
a
time
better
he played
defender than
65?
OG though.
I do too.
I know you guys value OG's strength. I know you value him not being able to get posted up and whatnot.
I mean, that would help with Luca.
J Mac may be able to get
put in
bullied,
jail.
but J Mac is his length,
Mm-hmm.
how tall he is.
How many on-ball defenders in the game are better than Jaden McDaniels?
on ball.
On ball, you're saying?
On ball. I think he top 5, probably.
Okay,
I
here's
think
the
he's
thing.
probably top 5 on ball.
Anyone wants to see how good
Caruso,
OG Anunoby is
Herb
defensively?
I think Jaden McDaniels better on ball than Caruso.
If anyone wants to see how good OG is defensively,
overzealous on that.
watch
on
the
that.
Raptors versus the Minnesota Timberwolves last year. I think it was the second game of the season.
He's very good.
I think that
ball.
was the worst I've ever seen Anthony Edwards play in my life. Like, it was bad.
Did he shut the door on him? Is what you're telling me?
Absolutely. Shut him
OG
down.
good
And
for
I mean,
it.
it's not him alone. Scotty helped a
Yeah.
lot. Obviously, Jakob was there, and it's part of a team scheme. But yeah, when OG is going right, he is number one. He has the hardest matchup difficulty almost any given night. He's on the best player every single night, and that's his job, shutting down the water. Does he give a blow by occasionally? Does he generate the most steals? No, but his positional versatility. This is a guy I've seen really back down, to take Joel Embiid out of a game with a little bit of help.
When you guarding the best player every night, you're gonna get your ass bust. That's part of it.
But chill. See, Goose in the chat, just like Goose does. Goose is asking the right kind of questions.
Would OG would have left Rudy on the island?
Yeah, Rudy on the island. That's what I want to know. No, he wouldn't.
No, he would not.
That was terrible.
Stop with that.
I think he would have been a way better.
We can acknowledge a mistake when it happens. Jaden McDaniels made a mistake.
Ron, no. Ron, when we watched that back, I remember watching it back with you multiple times, and we're just looking at it like, J-Mac, where the F are you going?
Don't switch.
There is no.
Don't switch that.
Nothing. I don't care if me and Rudy end up trapping it together. You cannot leave him there.
So if that's gonna be the case, then cool. If y'all gonna trap it, then understandable.
You can leave him there in the second quarter, the first quarter. With 15, 20 seconds left on the clock,
a game on the line. Yeah,
that's just a last judgment. That is a brain fart. That's all that is. That is just completely mental. And maybe.
Ain't no maybe, Ox. Ain't no maybe, Ox.
Maybe he like, hey, better him than me.
Yes, that's exactly what he want nothing to do with him.
Man.
He didn't want nothing to do with him at the end. He didn't, Ron. Because if he did, then he wouldn't have switched. That was the conversation in the huddle. Hey, Ron or Ox, this high screen comes. Give me some room. Don't switch. I'm staying with him. Don't switch.
And chill. J-Mac is the one that's supposed to let him know that, like, yo, I'm not.
J-Mac supposed to communicate that.
J-Mac's supposed to let them know. On top of that, like, yo, I'm not helping either.
No.
Like, if he talking to whoever else on the floor, I don't know. He like, yo, if you over there with PJ, I'm not coming. Like, I'm staying right here. Rudy, you gotta help. I'm here. Ron, that was a complete brain fart, and I want to take J-Mac off my list for that.
I gotta be honest, bro. Like, I think the thing that kills me the most about that series is like people are pointing at Gobert and they're saying it would have been better if he wasn't on the floor and they had Nasri, but their defense was worse when Gobert wasn't there. And consistently, J-Mac was put in jail by Luka repeatedly. More than just that one play, he put him in jail consistently. And I feel like a lot of that is the weight and the strength. I think OG has that over him as a defender.
When he gets him on that hip.
But none of you guys put OG on the list.
Yeah,
no, because the game's play. I can't.
I don't think that OG is a better defender than Herb Jones. I don't think he's a better.
No, I'm fine. This is about the Jaden McDaniels. I think Jaden McDaniels.
He wasn't on my list.
I think OG probably better than Jaden McDaniels. Well, in the regular season, I think he was definitely better than him last year.
Yeah.
I just completely forgot about OG. I don't know how that happened. I was just moving quick, trying to get the list over.
All right, Ron, who's up next?
When you be pressuring us to make the list, like, I need it right now, then you don't get the best, man.
Alex, I told you that 48 hours ago. You had 48 hours to think.
Yeah, but you also got us trying to rank all 30 coaches. You know how difficult that is?
That's hard.
Yo, I did that in 10 minutes.
That's actually that's probably not good. That's probably not a good thing. That's not a flex. That's not a flex to say, oh yeah, I did all 30 in 10 minutes. That's not a flex, Ron.
It's like, okay, I got Nick Nurse over this guy. I don't got this guy over Nick Nurse. Doc, you're not better. You're clearly not better than this guy. We talk about this guy all day, every day.
I don't know, man.
I'm gonna be honest. Your bottom 12.
I don't think that's a flex.
Your bottom 12.
Okay, my top 12 is gonna be beautiful though.
Okay, it's 30 names.
Okay.
Cool. That means
hello.
So the living room is clean. Let me make sure I'm understanding this, Mars. The living room is clean. The bathroom is disgusting.
It's disgusting and dirty. Yeah.
It's not trigonometry. Y'all don't have to sit here and think about.
The living room looks great.
Y'all be overthinking these lists. My thing is,
not overthinking anything.
No, when you guys ask me about top 5 point guards, I know who I know is better than the point guard that I believe that they're better than. I don't have to sit there and be like, Trae Young and De'Aaron Fox. I know why I think the Trae Young is better than De'Aaron Fox.
You only spend 10 minutes looking at 30 coaches. You tweet out.
I'm sure everyone can give you their top 5 in about 5-10 minutes.
So how long am I supposed to?
All 30. It's difficult.
So how
you literally
long am I
spent
supposed
20
to
seconds on a coach?
Take it for that list.
You can sit there as long as you want. I'm just saying.
Okay, Joe Mazzulla or Mark Daigneault? Joe Mazzulla or Mark Daigneault?
Mark Daigneault.
Okay,
you're asking about the top.
Bingo. That was not that hard. He knows why he has Mark Daigneault over
Not
Joe
go down the
Mazzulla.
rest of the list. Not go down the rest of the list.
Or Will Hardy.
Who?
Darko. That's my point.
I didn't hear what you said. Don't do that.
Darko or Will Hardy.
I'm gonna go with Will Hardy.
Will Hardy.
But this is
like what he does with the Jazz more than Darko. It's simple as that.
If that's the level of explanation we have to go through.
But here's also the thing, though.
That's what I would have to say.
Stop promoting ignorance.
That's what I got to do.
No. This is where we draw the line. We need to stop promoting ignorance. It's not cool to be stupid. It's just not cool.
It's not.
It's not cool to be like, y'all are idiots because you spent 6 hours researching who these coaches are. You should research who these fucking coaches are. You should care.
You should. 6 hours is crazy though.
That's what I'm saying. Like
6 hours is kind of crazy.
I don't have that time in my day to spend 6 hours researching. I don't have the time to spend an hour researching one coach.
No, Ron. You should have more than 10 fucking minutes though.
Here's what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. We spend 3 hours on this panel every day talking about
every time outside. We talk about the Blazers, we talk for 2 minutes. So let's be honest. We talk about.
Let's be real honest.
Morris, I don't just analyze the Blazers while we're on the panel. It's time outside of the day where I spend thinking about the Blazers. It's time outside the day where I watch the Blazers. It's I live in the Pacific Northwest. I go to Blazers games. I go to Blazers games. So that's a bad example. Now, if you bring up the Jazz, if you bring up the Raptors, that may be different. But if you talk about the Blazers, okay. But the point that I'm trying to make is we talk about basketball on the panel for 3 hours every day. On top of that, we'll spend time on playback watching games. I'll spend time on Instagram going through different feeds and watching other people's analytics on it. I'll spend time watching other YouTube videos and things of that nature.
Okay.
I live in the basketball world. So when it comes time for people to ask me questions, I don't have to sit back and overanalyze things. And I don't think it's that difficult. If you ask me, is this coach better than this coach? I believe that this coach is better because of this. It doesn't take me an hour to try to figure out.
No one is asking an hour. I'm asking for more than 10 minutes.
The explanation you gave.
That's all.
Will Hardy over Darko was I like what he does with the Jazz. My point I'm saying is you can take as long as you want on the list. Honestly,
let me prove.
Maybe I'm wasting all my time, but if that's the level we're going to when we just explain our reasoning,
okay,
I'm gonna be honest, and I don't think people are gonna want to watch us rank 30 coaches.
Check this out. Check this out though. I didn't say because I said so. Chill. I said because I like what he does with this team more. But here's also another thing too. And I was gonna save this for tomorrow, but since we're already in it, let's get into it. Some coaches I haven't seen as much as other coaches. So a coach like Will Hardy and Darko, I don't have a deep, dark explanation for these guys. Guys like Penn and guys like you, Morris, you guys will come up here and give a deeper explanation. Now, guys like Joe Mazzulla, guys like Tyronn Lue, guys like Steve Kerr, I have more proof to rank them. Other guys, it's just like
that's why my top
normalized thing. I don't know. Why do you have to know about everything? If you're gonna talk about something, I'm sorry, this is a pet peeve of mine. People do this on ESPN all the time. They go on and they're like, this guy's an idiot. This guy's a bad player. It's like you haven't watched this player play, and I know you haven't watched them play. And when you watch as much basketball as some of us watch, it's very obvious when other people don't do that work. And that is work. I'm sorry, it is work. I'll prove to you right now why you should never talk on Darko Rajakovic. Name 2 teams that he was an assistant coach for. Go ahead. I'll wait. That's my point. He was a lead assistant in Memphis, and you don't know that. He was a huge part of why guys like Devin Booker, Desmond Bane, Mikal Bridges have developed, and you don't know that. Name what was the last team that Will Hardy coached on?
Will Hardy.
Boston, my God, man.
It was Boston.
Like, what are we doing? So you can't be telling me that you're gonna base everything on what Will Hardy did with the Jazz when you watch one Jazz game the entire fucking year. You can't do that. That's ignorance. And I need if you're gonna ask me about a player and I haven't watched that player, I need to normalize and be okay, no matter what the chat says, being like, I haven't watched enough of this player. Move on to somebody else.
It's okay to say that I don't know.
Why do we have?
It is okay to say you don't know.
We don't have an opinion.
It's okay to say I don't know.
That's growth from the Cade Cunningham days. That's growth.
That's growth from the Cade Cunningham days. That's
it's okay to say that I don't know.
But I do agree. I do.
Because if I'm being honest with you, Penn, before last year, I didn't really know much about Mark Daigneault. I didn't, and I said that I didn't really know much about him.
Appreciate the honesty.
Part of that goes into the coaches' rankings, and that's why it didn't take me that long to rank the coaches. The ones that I know, it's easy for me to place you. The ones at the bottom, and that's right, Mars, you're right. The 12 bottom ones are kind of just, I had to rank them based off what you did or what I know about you.
Why didn't you just make a coach from the coaching staff?
Yeah, then why didn't you?
You credit a coach for developing a player when that coach had barely anything to do with developing a player.
I mean, that's just part of your situation, Opin. So Chauncey Billups, it's hard for Chauncey Billups can be the best coach in the world, but we wouldn't know because he. I'm saying he could. I'm saying he might not be. I'm making an example. I'm making an example. He has not been given anything to work with. You can't build a MacBook with PC products. Pun intended. Like you need Mac products. You need Apple products.
You know that the Macs actually use. I don't know if you knew this, but they actually use their parts to.
They use Intel chips.
Man, we got the analogy, man.
You get what I'm saying.
Just saying. You know.
I just want to.
I mean, the thing about it is for tomorrow.
I put the new coaches at the bottom just because they haven't coached in the NBA.
And that was another thing too.
A lot of times too, though. I mean, we can pretend that we know every coaching system. I don't care if you got it 2 hours. You don't. You know what I'm saying? So like there's also that part of it. But the thing too, Ron, it's just like the difference between me and you, Ron, is like I'll be in the gym. You know what I'm saying? So I don't really. You know what I'm saying? I don't really got time to, you know, Ron. So like, Ron, you might not be in the lab, but I'm in the gym every day. So.
Okay. I bet you I got more shots than you yesterday.
I played a full game yesterday. And got shots in before that, bro. Stop playing.
But how many shots you get in the game? 3.
I was on my Magic Johnson.
Oh, I see. Word. He was passing a lot, yeah. All right, but Ron, who was the next name?
There was this dude yesterday, chill. I'm talking about, dude, like all white looking dude came in there and was cooking. I was like, hey, little bro, you got him.
Oh, definitely not defense anchor. Okay,
I know we're gonna get into this coaching conversation tomorrow, but I think there's a lot of ignorance about what a coach is based on what your coach was. So your coach in rec league or in AAU was very different than the head coach in the NBA. Head coach in the NBA is a political position. Largely, it is about delegation of tasks, management of people, and sometimes adjustments, play calling, stuff like that. Different coaches have different strengths. Certain coaches are great developmental coaches. Some coaches are great at getting guys ready for the game mentally. You take a guy like Phil Jackson. Was he the greatest X's and O's coach? Maybe not. Was he a great emotional growth coach for his team, getting them centered and getting their minds to evolve and growing these people as people and meeting them on their level and channeling the best parts of them? Like Steve Kerr really has done a lot of that as well.
But that's not hard to understand, Pin, when you've had hundreds of coaches. Whoever you're talking about, if they've only had 3 coaches in their whole lives, then they wouldn't understand. But if you've had 20 plus coaches in all different levels, great coaches, and if you've been in a high level with the coach that clearly doesn't know what he's talking about, or if you've had been in a low level with super intense coaches, you understand that. And a lot of coaches at a lot of levels are just glorified. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times the head coach. I've been on a couple of teams where we have a great team, and these teams are these coaches. I played for some of the most historic coaches in California, and these coaches, a lot of times you come to find out, like, damn, so you're really kind of just the motivator, and this dude right here, the assistant coach that's sitting there kind of like this, is the brains behind this whole operation. But you're not going to know that watching the game. So that's why I said what I said a minute ago. We think we know whose system is whose, and we think we know what's going on, but really don't.
But if you're the head coach, you're the guy who has the choice to listen to that assistant coach when he draws up a play. You're also the person who has the job of firing or not firing that head coach. Look at what happened with Adrian Griffin and Terry Stotts last year, right? Right away, Adrian Griffin lost his lead assistant because he didn't know how to manage that personality. He didn't know how to finesse it. It's a people management job, okay? It's a media front-facing job. It's a political job, right? That's part of it. That is a huge part of being a head coach in the NBA is stabilizing your locker room, stabilizing the environment around your team, working with the training staff, working with your G League coaches, enabling people, helping people grow, helping your assistants grow. And yeah, it's going to matter that you have a star player like Nikola Jokic who's going to make you look like a freaking offensive wizard every single night. It's going to help if you have a great defensive coordinator or a great assistant coach like Tex Winters who can come up with a triangle offense. Like all of these things are going to help. But in the end, it is a very complicated thing to ask who is a great coach. And it's almost as complicated as asking who's a great defender. It's not so simple. I don't like the oversimplification of complicated things. I don't like the overcomplication of simple things.
What if
I get you on that second one? I'll definitely get you on that second one.
Or what if things just aren't complicated? Or what if things just aren't simple? You know what I mean? Like we all look at things different. You know, some of us, like you said, Penn. Some of us are dumb. You know what I mean? And
I think evaluating coaches is harder than just saying who a better player is or who's better at defense, because you can actually like see film on that. I feel like coaching influence is a lot of if you're in that spot or not. There's things you can say to say, okay, this coach is better, but I think that's more give or take. I think evaluating players is a lot more simple than that.
I mean, there's like 12 people on coaching stuff, so I don't even know what everyone does. Like, we give coaches credit for like
player development
for defensive schemes or offensive schemes. Like, I'm gonna be honest,
we don't even know.
I'm gonna go to this as the example because I know this is for a fact. Steve Nash was not running that offense in Brooklyn when Mike D'Antoni was there, and he wasn't running that defense when Ime Udoka was his assistant. He was just a figurehead. I'm sorry, I'm not gonna give Steve Nash credit for them having the best offensive rating ever when I know it was Mike D'Antoni. But Steve Nash was the head coach. But like for other teams, I don't know how involved Sam Cassell is in Boston. I don't know how involved other guys are when Mike Brown was on the bench for Steve Kerr. I don't know that. So like that's why for me ranking coaches is borderline impossible. I don't know how much responsibility each of them have. And I'm gonna be honest, when I was ranking it, I think there's about 24 good coaches in the league, and 3 of them have never had an NBA head coaching job, so they're in the bottom 6. But they might all be good too. I think there's like 3 bad coaches in the NBA. I think there's a lot of good coaches now.
But Mars,
I feel like when you're saying who the best coaches, you're really saying who's the best overall coaching staff. That's how I take it.
But Mars,
we got to do it without getting so uptight. You know what I'm saying? It's just a list, y'all.
Sure, but we have seen coaches who don't know how to adjust in game. We've seen that. You've watched the game where you've seen a coach who his guy is clearly getting backdoored and he won't make an adjustment. That's not something that's difficult. That's elementary. That this guy's getting backdoored. Yo, we need to switch the defense. We need to shift the defense. We need to get this guy off of him. We've seen guys who in transition, their team defensively is not very good. And he needs to go to a zone because individually his team is not very good. We've seen that. That's coaching. That's an adjustment that needs to be made. So the idea that these guys are, and I will say, Mars, that a lot of these coaches, I've always stood on the logic. You're only as well as teams, as coaches, you're only as good as your coaching staff. As good as you are as a coach, I don't think you're only as good as your coaching staff. You have to utilize your coaching staff, which I don't think Darvin Ham did nearly as much. I don't think he listened to those guys nearly as much as he should have. But we've actually seen coaches who don't know how to make adjustments. We've seen coaches who don't know what they're doing in their offense. Mars, you've said to me numerous times, what is Coach Bud doing with Giannis? Why does Giannis have the ball as much as he has it? What is he doing? And you know what, Mars? You probably ain't the only one. I bet you it's somebody on his coaching staff that's going, you know what? We should probably get the ball out of Giannis's hands. I think he's got the ball too much.
Well, Phoenix got the ball moving, so I don't know.
We'll see what happens.
Maybe it was a Giannis problem. I don't know.
All right, y'all. We got to get.
We got to get back to the list, though.
That's what
we're at number.
That's what Bradley Beal was talking about.
I think he said Herb Jones last.
I can't wait to talk about that. Ox.
It was Herb.
I'm saying, look.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that. Because I got a lot to say about that.
This is y'all Greek God. He's a sellout, bro.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, we'll get to that. Remind me after this list to make sure that we get to that first. Mm-hmm. But at number 8. Still an honorable mention. We have not De'Aaron Fox, not DeMontis Sabonis, but Keegan Murray.
Oh,
that was Ox.
And not Keon Ellis.
That was definitely Ox.
Yeah, that was Ox.
You didn't put Keon Ellis, but you put Keegan Murray.
Why would that be Ox? Y'all don't believe in Keegan Murray?
I know I ain't put him on my list.
I know I didn't vote him
on it.
I said I put all bigs. Gifted said he put all bigs, and so did Penn. I know, and Chill said 5 minutes ago, I gotta watch more Keegan Murray on defense. So that leaves one person. I'm not gonna lie.
It does leave you.
And the one person who's a Sacramento Kings fan, by the way.
That
as
also
well
contributes, but just
That's
by
a big part of it as well.
production, it's clearly Ox.
But not Penn. I hear what you're saying about Keon. I like Keon too. But I'm kind of going with your logic on this one. Just kind of the switchability thing. I think Keegan can guard damn near 1 through 4. Definitely 2, 3, and 4. 2, 3, and 4. Definitely. Some point guards though. Some point guards.
But go ahead, Chill.
Oxen, and is it because of the quiet demeanor? Am I looking at Keegan Murray like he's soft and I shouldn't be doing that?
Gotta be, because that's how I am, and I'm not even sure how come I like Keegan Murray because of his demeanor.
Yeah.
He not, you know what I'm saying? He not rah enough for me,
No,
and I hate it.
Quiet dude.
No, it's anchoring bias.
I need some emotion.
Keegan got
I need
better.
to get upset. I need you to, I need you to crash out once or twice, Keegan. I need you to foul out. I need some technicals. I need you to do something.
That's it. He'll make a 3 on a 12-2 run and be like,
yeah, you know what I'm saying? Talk some shit, Keegan.
That's some Tim Duncan shit. That's
the arena. Keegan Murray. Okay,
that's what I'm saying. If that was me, I'll be out there talking about Murray. You know, I'm doing my own chant. You know what I'm saying? But I think he's a hell of a defender, though. And I think this year might, might be that breakout year for him.
I will do that.
All right, y'all. Up next at number 7, and he's actually tied with Keegan Murray. Triple J.
I'm not even mad at that
the
pick.
Only person I put him on there. That's crazy.
Yeah. I'm not even mad at that. I'm not even mad. The reason why I did not have Triple J on my list, part of it is the injuries he's going through facing the season and whatnot. I think if he was like fully healthy, it probably would have been harder for me. But that's not a bad shout. I don't hate that for him.
Penn, you and me on a different page. He don't rebound enough for me as a big. He don't rebound.
Rebounding's a part of it.
Doesn't rebound. That
bothers
bothers
me.
me.
Huge part of defense, but he's gonna have Zach Edey in there, who's gonna be clogging up a lot of paint.
He's gonna look very good on defense this year,
which should enhance his ability to rebound.
Keep going.
It should enhance his ability to block shots because Zach Edey is going to be a great
Zach Edey, Brandon Clark,
and
Marcus Smart.
Funnel.
Well, wait a minute. Wait, rewind.
Desmond Bain.
In fact, because Zach Edey is there as the rim deterrent and the rim protector, now he's going to be thwarting shots. Now that brings in Jaren Jackson.
I don't care what his rebounding is, Chill. I care what team rebounding is when he's on the court.
He's contributing to that, though. That's the point.
Here's the question, Chill. When you look at rebounding, right? Consider the OKC Thunder as the most extreme example with Russell Westbrook. Who is doing the boxing out? Who is doing the dirty work? Steven Adams. Who's getting the rebounds? Russell Westbrook. So you know what I mean? Like, is the rebounding worse because Steven Adams is letting Russell Westbrook get these rebounds to initiate the offense? No. Rebounding is that what
Triple J is doing?
First and foremost, Steven Adams is a bad example because he's a double-digit rebounder.
But he wasn't in OKC.
But he could have grabbed like 4 extra rebounds every single game. First of all, offensive rebounding, defensive rebounding are totally different. And secondly, there's two different parts to rebounding, and I think the most important thing is preventing an offensive rebound.
Sure.
So while the casual fan is going to look at a guy who has 11 rebounds a game as a great rebounder and 7 rebounds a game as a bad rebounder, the only question really between these two rebounders is which one of these people is contributing to a better team rebounding when they're on the court.
Right.
So a guy who boxes out his man every single time and can maybe even is wide enough to box out 2 guys and let a guard grab a rebound is actually a much better thing for your defense. And I don't think Jaren Jackson is a bad rebounder. I just think he's an unwilling rebounder at times, and I think he blocks.
That makes
him
a bad rebounder, right there.
I hear that point of vacuum, but I do think the rebounding hurts him though.
Like the concept you're speaking.
Yeah,
I still think Jaren Jackson's a bad rebounder, but I am with you in the overall concept. And Steven Adams is a great example.
Also, one thing: if you are a spacing big like a Miles Turner or a Jaren Jackson or a Marcus Gasol, your rebounding is going to be shit by default. It's never going to be.
Wait.
Nah, by default.
Because I'm not saying you're wrong. Relax. I'm just asking for some clarification. If I'm spacing the floor on offense, what does that got to do with me rebounding on
0?
Defense?
Okay, so no. Don't brush it off without thinking about it. There's 2 things. Number one, offensive rebounding. If you are constantly the stretch big like a Miles Turner, how far are you from the basket when that offensive rebound comes off the rim? Number one. Number 2.
Wait. I disagree with that, Morris. Because even if I'm Well, I mean, because if I'm 6'9" and I'm watching and somebody shoots, I get a running start.
Which you are, by the way.
You should be a good offensive rebounder. You don't have to be under the rim to get involved. The ball hits the rim and it bounces. You got more than enough time to get. What is you confused about, Pin?
I'm confused because if you're 28 feet from the basket and
he doesn't play 28 feet away from the basket on the regular.
Jaren Jackson is taking a lot of threes.
Jaren Jackson might play like 20.
Pin, I'm here to tell you.
He's not a good rebounder.
When it comes to running to get to a shot, if I've seen a shot go up, it doesn't take that long for me to get in the mix. You get there that fast.
But that's team scheme related. If your coach is preaching floor balance and getting back on transition versus your coach is preaching crash the offensive glass,
that's the weak. Okay. So look, if I'm being told not to rebound, okay. But I'm just curious to know what what does being a floor spacer. Let's get back to it because we're gonna get off track.
Like a guy like Andrea
What does being a floor
Bargnani,
spacer have to do with being a bad rebounder?
it's not about bad rebounding.
I'm sorry.
It's
Numbers,
about
bad
being in a
rebound
position to grab the average rebound. Now there are sometimes long shot, long rebound, etc. But if a guy like consider Miles Turner, right? Miles Turner is at the top of the key. Like maybe he's 24 feet from the basket, and his coach is like, "Hey, get back defensively."
Get back. Okay,
that's pretty much where you're at. Now, let's say Tyrese Halliburton misses a layup. He's not even in the play. He's not there. He's 24 feet from the basket. So, but Rudy Gobert would be there.
7, 8. I can still get 7, 8 defensive rebounds.
Okay. Now there's the other problem. Consider bigs that are drop bigs or hang back bigs, right? The guys who are always near the basket, like a guy like what Zach Edey is going to be this year. He's going to gobble up rebounds because he's always going to be 4 feet from the basket, right? Now, what about a big like a Bam Adebayo, who is often switching out to perimeter players in the corner? Is he going to be the same position to rebound as a Rudy Gobert? Hell no, he's not. He's not. No.
Pin.
He can't be in two places at once.
Pin, you're not at two places at once. But the basketball court's not that big, bro. It's
huge.
Spacious, but it's not that big. Pin, if I get switched on to somebody as a Bam Adebayo, let's say wherever, anywhere to pick, whatever, however I get switched out. If I'm on the wing and a shot goes up over here, if I'm not in the mix to rebound, I'm not doing my job. I have to be able to defend, switch, and get back into the play. I can't.
And Bam still rebounds too.
I can't. Well, I'm not saying he doesn't. I'm not saying he doesn't. I'm saying that I can't watch. I have to rebound.
That's your job.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if I'm switched out. None of that matters. It's my obligation to get back in the play.
These guys are not
a part of your job.
Who's the best rebounder? Is Andre Drummond
the best rebounder in the NBA? We don't need to
where's Andre Drummond always on the court?
The facts are still the facts. The facts are the facts, Pin. I have to get back in the play. Regardless of any made-up scenario you're about to bring up, you have to get back in the play if you're Bam Adebayo.
You don't have to get back into play. If you're a Pascal Siakam, hold on. If you're a Pascal Siakam doesn't have huge rebounding numbers, right? Let's say the team, team defense, team rebounding is how we need to talk about it. Fans want to isolate rebounding to the individual so they can have this is the best rebounder, this is the best shot blocker, whatever. But it always comes back to team. If I'm a Pascal Siakam and I'm on the corner, I'm not in a position if the ball goes off the other side to even get that rebound. Now, if I'm an Andre Drummond, I'm always in position to get the rebound. And oh, by the way, I'm not a great defender, so I'm definitely always in the place to get the rebound because I probably didn't try to block the shot. So a guy like an Andre Drummond or a Jalen Duren or a Mark Williams are going to grab a lot of rebounds. They're going to grab an obnoxious number of rebounds. But a guy like Ben Simmons, he may not grab as many rebounds because oftentimes when the shot is going up, also consider this. If you're a big and you're guarding a stretch five, now where are you defensively? You're on the perimeter.
Sure.
If that was your scheme. So a lot of this comes back to team. I look at a rebounder and say, does my rebounding get better or worse when you're on the court? If it gets worse, you're probably a bad rebounder. If it gets better, regardless of who gets it, it doesn't matter to me. Again, for years, I watched Steven Adams box out guys as Russell Westbrook flew in for rebounds. And I realized very much that I've seen this a lot through NBA history. I've seen a lot of guys who did a lot of the dirty work so somebody else could get it, right? I'm sorry.
But they also did a lot of the dirty work so they can get it too. Because I watched Malone I watched Malone and Mark Eaton who was a primary rim protector, and Malone was a double-digit rebounder who also did the dirty work. So when you're talking about a guy in Pascal Siakam on the wing, in the end, even if I am 22 feet away from the basket, I am 19 feet away from the basket, and the ball goes off, I still got to crash the glass.
You got to box out your man. You don't have to crash the glass.
More times than not, when you are 20, more times, especially a guy like Pascal Siakam, who's he covering? Let's say he's covering Jason Tatum, or let's say he's covering, I don't know, Kawhi Leonard. Let's say he's covering Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard is not going to the offensive glass if he's 24 feet away from the basket.
Why would you send five people to the? Why would you send five people to grab one rebound?
Because the weak side guard gets back. And you just said a minute ago that if you switch, if I'm a stretch bigger out there, then I'm not crashing the glass. So who am I boxing out if he's not crashing?
You can box the guy out. It doesn't mean you're finishing the possession.
You go check. You go get in the mix. If he's not crashing, who am I boxing out?
Get on the glass. Get on the glass.
If he's not going to the glass, if he's going to go back, right, defensively, you could also leak out offensively to start your transition offense. If your guard is a great rebounder, if you have Alonzo Ball, like who's a competent rebounder as a guard, then you have an obligation as a big, if you're fast, to get up the court so he can give you one of those full court blitzes. If you're a Jonathan Isaac guarding in the corner, I don't want you fucking coming back 25 feet to try and crash the glass to obligate, some 70s old head coach who's like, oh my God, everyone got to crash the glass. No, you don't need to send five people. You do not need to send five people to crash the glass. Hold on. And let me tell you something. Let me tell you one more thing. What about a guard who never boxes out his man? A guard who does not box out his man is bad for your rebounding, right?
Then he can't be on the floor. He can't be on the floor then. He can't be on the floor.
Blah. There's so many guards who don't box out their man. So many wings who don't box out. There's bigs who don't box out their guy.
And so they are making. Which would explain why he doesn't play as much.
We don't have a box score stat for box outs, do we? Do we have a?
And we don't need one. I don't need a.
We might have one though.
The stats that Mars runs. I don't need the
for box outs, but it's not in the box.
It takes five people to rebound one basketball.
I don't need a stat for me to watch a guy that's not blocking out. I don't need a stat for that. This guy doesn't box out. I don't need a stat for that.
It's not crazy. It's not crazy. It's simple fucking basketball.
No, it's not.
That's what it is.
I mean, it is simple, but you're stuck in like 50
I'm
years
not
old.
stuck in anything. I'm stuck in listening to you contradict yourself and then keep talking about this is old archaic way of basketball. If I am Bam Adebayo, I'm crashing the glass. If this person, whatever you're talking about, you just said a minute ago that this stretch, this person, that person isn't going to the rim. So who am I boxing out?
If you're about, let's just say you're Jaren Jackson and you're guarding Miles Turner, and Miles Turner is 28 feet and he's trailing the play and he launches the three. The minute he takes off, if he starts crashing, if he starts running to the basket to rebound, potentially miss, then you got an obligation to box him out. You can't send that monster to the rim. Hold on. But if he takes that three and he starts getting back on defense after he takes it and you go back, how are you helping? You're not going to be there when the ball comes off the rim anyway.
Why
so
not?
you might as well actually go out.
If he's shooting a three, why would I not be there?
Why would you have to be there is my point.
So you can get the ball. That's why you would have to be there.
You're not the closest person to the rim. You're the first.
You don't have to be the first person to win.
Real quick, I want to ask. Hold on. Real quick, I want to ask Ben a question real quick.
Hold on.
I'll keep holding on.
If I'm shooting a three, the ball doesn't just land on the ground, Pin.
Yes, it comes off the rim. But presumably,
I gotta go get the ball.
If it's not in your area, then all you have an obligation to do is box out your guy if he tries to crash the glass. So in that case, if Jaren Jackson Jr. is guarding Miles Turner and Miles Turner leaks out back defensively, he's trying to get back defensively after he misses a shot, then I gotta trust my wings and my guards that they're gonna rebound that. I can go back and offer assistance, but I don't need to. And it's actually beneficial. And you look at a guy like Pascal Siakam in a transition offense that's as high octane, as fast as Indiana, he's probably going to leak out, and that's not a bad thing.
Now this is definitely a thing depending on who you are. I understand that everybody doesn't. It's a based on who you are type thing. I can understand that. Bam Adebayo needs to go get in the play. If it's a shooting guard or something, I understand you not running in there trying to go get the rebound. I definitely understand that. But there's certain guys can't just watch. You can't watch.
Nobody said watch.
You also can't get out early in transition. I can't run in transition if we don't secure the rebound.
Okay, Ox, real quick. I want to ask Penn a specific question, right? So when you're evaluating JJ, because again, this all stemmed from him, right? I believe that he is a weaker overall rebounder. In terms of evaluating that, are you looking at the team defensive rebound percentage? Are you looking at team offensive, that when he's on the court? Or are you also going to look at how he boxes out or his individual defensive rebounding numbers? Like, I'm asking, like, what is your barometer to evaluate his impact at rebounding the ball?
That's a great question, Gifted. So I'm going to be honest. I haven't looked at Jaren Jackson Jr.'s on-off splits and all of his, all that stuff. But I'll say philosophically, I would look at it as, what is his role as a rebounder? What is his role? Like, what is his role defensively? Where is he often on the court, offensively and defensively, where he would be in a position? Does he box out his man? Does the team get exponentially worse or notably worse with him on the court because he's missing assignments or he's letting easy ones slip at the rim? I mean, I just gave a lot of praise to Pascal Siakam for, being the type of big who can get out in transition. But, last year with the Toronto Raptors, he was often in the lower third of the defense where he was hanging back. And he was just missing easy box outs. He was missing shots just coming off the rim, and he wouldn't jump for them. That's bad rebounding, in my estimation. But with Jaren Jackson Jr., very often he is parked out on the outside. I think long shot, long rebound, sure. But, if a guy goes up for a layup and he misses that layup, he's not in a position to get an offensive rebound there.
Yeah.
Defensively, Jaren Jackson's pretty switchable. He's pretty switchable.
Now, I will say this, man.
Real quick to chill, because I had somewhere else I was going with this, right? The thing with Jaren Jackson to me is, I think you're right? Like, he is more a perimeter big man, but I think the biggest problem with Memphis is the best version of their defense features another big next to him to make up for his flaws at, being the sole guy at the big spot to rebound the ball. Jaren Jackson Jr. in small ball lineups where he is the 5-man hasn't been viable because of his foul pressures in terms of post overall defense and his offensive rebounding, right? I'm looking at some numbers right here. When he's at the 5 in, let's say, 22, this is the same year that he won the actual DPOY. They ranked in the 59th percentile in offensive rebounding percentage. The problem is it's very skewed data because it's not that many overall possessions. So, like, it's hard for me to say, like, that's just who he is. I just think in multiple scenarios I've seen him on, rebounding the ball, I think he just doesn't have the intangibles that other bigs have, right? Even a Bam Adebayo, right? Bam is tasked to switch multiple times where he plays in the perimeter, but he always finds a way to get back and still board up at a high level. To me, that's kind of an issue that you want to see him improve at to really be like that sole 5. That's why, to me, he's a 4. So he's not taxed to have to be that. If you're going to be a team's primary big man in the paint, your rebounding is a part of it.
Get on the glass.
Would you hold on?
Get on the glass.
Would you say Bam Adebayo, relative to Jaren Jackson Jr., plays closer to the basket offensively and defensively? Would you be like, that's cap?
I would say offensively, he definitely is closer to the basket. I would say defensively, a lot of the Heat scheme deals with him being a switchable big out on the perimeter more times than not.
Okay, so I mean, if the argument is Bam Adebayo a better defender than is better rebounder than Jaren Jackson Jr., of course he is. Is Jaren Jackson a terrible rebounder? I don't think he's a terrible rebounder. I think he gets a lot of flack because of where he is on the court most times. Maybe, okay. But I agree with all of you that Jaren Jackson Jr. is not a great rebounder. I've never called him a great rebounder. I just think some of his rebounding issues are overblown because I've seen them have a really competent defense and a really good rebounding. And I do think that some of the shot blocking negates some of the rebounding.
Oh, so you're saying that guys,
sorry. Sure. There are certain guys like Hassan Whiteside where they can get right. They can block 4 shots and they can get 18 rebounds. So they can do that.
And it's empty, by the way.
Empty for sure, but again, like, well, how empty are Enes Kanter's stats? How empty are Andre Drummond's stats? I mean, there are just certain guys who just get, and then also like consider contested rebounds versus uncontested rebounds. What's the value of each? We count them as one on the box score. So there is a pretty evolved way of looking at this that does get into more tracking data and stuff like that. And we're probably far away from that in terms of analytics to be able to say this guy is definitively a great rebounder or not. But I do think the conversation around a big man who doesn't average 10 rebounds a game is ass. I think that conversation needs to change because bigs are not created equal. And I think to the point of Jaren Jackson, I talked to a scout like 3 years ago who thought he was more of a small forward than a center. So
and like I'm just saying with that, like I think it's fair to like say that you don't think that he is sorry, to make sure that I get what you're saying. You're not saying that he's a good rebounder. You're just arguing he's not a awful rebounder, right? Yeah. Okay.
I ain't saying that you. I ain't saying that you're a good rebounder. I'm just saying you don't suck. That's what
we
he
just
saying.
spent 20 minutes.
Mars, I'm with you.
Yeah, and listen, like I'm sorry.
So then
but,
do your
but,
job,
like,
host.
Yeah,
I'm not.
okay, listen. Real quick,
They're having a conversation. And look,
you ain't calling conversation.
Look, Gifty has something he wants to say. I'm not about to be like Gifty. I'm not about to be like Gifty. I'm not about to be like Gifty. Shut the fuck up. Don't say that. I'm not about to be like Penn. No. If you guys are having a debate, that's what we're here for. Y'all have. I might not care for the debate, but the chat and you guys might care for the debate. I'm not gonna just cut it dry. But go ahead, Gifty.
Real quick. I will say, Ron, you could have done a better job at establishing that in between while people are talking. I feel like sometimes you play too much in the backseat. I will say that. But the last thing I'm going to say is I don't think anyone up here is asking Jaren Jackson to average 10 boards.
I'm
asking you.
I am.
Okay.
He should be a double-digit rebounder, 100%.
Okay, well, chill. Hang on there real quick. I'm getting somewhere. Mm-hmm. I'm just asking you to not put up 4 rebounds a game.
No, that's not.
No, I think like I would give you much more grace if he was close to 10, if it was like 8 or 6 or 7. But that just shows that like he's more of a perimeter player, which does impact his rebounding. And I think ultimately a big part of his defense is having another big next to him to unlock him as a roamer so he can do all of the other things while the anchor does more of the traditional things so he can be the best he can be overall defensively. And I think if I'm looking at that, plus his foul tendencies when he's going for these blocks, that kind of does impact his overall value defensively, at least in my eyes.
All right, y'all. On to the next honorable mention. As of right now, we have Herb Jones, Jaden McDaniels, Keegan Murray, and now Triple J. Next.
Yeah, I forgot about Keegan Murray. Yeah.
The last and final honorable mention is Chet Holmgren.
Ah, damn, he ain't make it.
Oh, Chet made honorable mention? Oh, wow. I might have been too high on him then.
I had him on my
He had 2 votes, eh?
No, Chet had 3 votes.
Wow.
2 at 2 and 1 at 5. And then everybody else just didn't have him on his list.
Yeah, I had him at 2.
I had him at 2 as well.
The Chet hates nice. I had him at 5. Some of it is I don't think he gets appreciated enough already. Like last year, not making all defensive team, so I just don't think he's gonna go from that to he's gonna get loved to number 2 or whatever. Plus, I think the addition of Isaiah Hartenstein they're gonna take it away from Chet's credit. I think how good OKC's defense are with Shea being valuable in his role, Lou Dort being valuable at the point of attack, Caruso being, in my opinion, one of the 2 or 3 best guard defenders in the league, J-Dub being a borderline elite defender. He's probably elite defender. Hartenstein being an elite defender, and Chet. I feel like they got so much personnel that it's going to be hard to give any one of them all the credit. Even though I think he's very clearly their best defender. That's why I had him at 5. I just don't think he's going to get credit to where he's going to really warrant DPOY votes in the top 3. But I think he's going to get enough just because of how good I think OKC's defense is going to be. So
I had Chet at 2, and the reason why is last year he played every game. I thought that the durability would help his case. Also, more times than not to win it, your defense has to be like top 5. I think OKC has a strong case to be arguably number 1. Pretty sure they're going to be a top 5 defense. And I think because he didn't make any teams last year, I feel like a lot of it is because he was overshadowed. I think if OKC wins the most amount of games in the entire NBA over Boston, and they have the best overall defense, I think Chet will absolutely get nods because I think his defense is very good. I don't think it gets valued at a high level yet. But if they have another breakout year where it's even better, I think his name will definitely get in the cap. And also because he's so far been durable outside of his first year. If he can play a high amount of games, I think that will really elevate his chances.
Him being the rim protector that he was last year, if that can get enhanced, and
yes,
not just him being the rim protector that he is, be a better rebounder, I think that would enhance their team defense, because now, I mean, you holding guys and you holding teams to one shot when you got a big guy like Chet in the paint. I mean, to Mars's point, when he talked about having Hartenstein, I feel like that's going to enhance Chet, because when you
I was going to say the same thing.
When you play with a big like Hartenstein, a dirty work guy like that, I feel like that helps Chet's game. One, because now I can be more aggressive because I got a dirty work guy who's more of an enforcer, which enforces my game. And I feel like with Chet being the rim protector that he is, being the rebounder that he is, I feel like playing with a guy like Hartenstein, I feel like that's really going to help him.
And that's a part of why I had him as high as, I would say, 2. It's possible. So, yeah.
Also, Morris, like you said, he didn't get the recognition last year. I mean, today's price isn't yesterday's price.
It's not, Ron. It's not.
We seen him do it all season last year.
Right.
And then we turned around and watched him do it in the playoffs, too. I think that's going to be a major factor in people starting to give him the love, because he came and did it in the playoffs. But also now, like, once again, OKC is the favorites in the West. Chet is it's in large part of what Chet just brings on the defensive end. Like, I think everybody knows Chet is their defensive anchor. So when OKC finishes at the top of the West, when they have one of the better defenses in the league, when they are just that team that's just glaring, I think people are gonna contribute that in large part to Chet. And I think like if it was like a most improved defensive player, I think that would go to Chet this year, because I think people would just pay attention to what he's doing and just OKC's defense in totality. So that's why I got him rising up so high.
I don't even know how much Chet can improve, if I'm being honest. But
well, I'm just saying,
I don't think it's much about him.
I don't think it's
but
I think it's people just saying,
people gonna be awake. Yeah, people gonna be awake this time. But
I just think like they're gonna like be more aware of what OKC is doing, because last year people didn't really think they would be the best team in the league. I think if they do it back to back and they win more games, Chet's defense is going to get highlighted more. Also, because he held up pretty well in the playoffs as well, I think the media voters are also going to take that into more consideration. And again, it's games played. If he's also the most durable big in the league behind maybe Gobert, that's going to help everything with him. So, yeah.
Miles, how can you say that you don't know how much he's going to improve? You just talked to me not too long ago about guys calling out signals and being the signal caller on defense. That's a basketball IQ thing. Understanding defense, getting guys to get around screens, understanding how to rebound better. So if Chet is better at that, that means that the game is slowing down for him. That means that he can anticipate plays even better. With him anticipating plays even better, he can rebound more. He can actually rim protect better without fouling. He can be even better at those things. So now we got a guy who's only in year 2. If he can get better at that stuff in terms of IQ, how much better of a defensive player is he going to be? Just because I ain't averaging 4 blocks a game, just because I'm not averaging 13 rebounds, does not mean that I haven't gotten better as a defensive player. I watch Michael Jordan, and I bring up Jordan as an example in terms of a bucket getter. I thought Jordan, who was averaging 37 a game, who was averaging 35 a game, that guy who was averaging 31 a game, 32 a game in 92, I think he was way better than that guy who was averaging 37 a game, because he saw the game different. So when I think about Chet, his ability to understand the game more, I think that's going to really enhance his game. And you being a basketball guy, in terms of IQ, I thought that you would understand that more than anybody.
I understand that. I just think Chet's defensive IQ is already really high. That's why we're going to get to who's probably number 1. I have issues with his defensive decision making, and I think that's where he can improve the most. But with Chet, I genuinely feel the only major ways he can improve is some communication things, even though I think he's actually pretty vocal, and some just strength.
Yeah, well, Mars, that to me, that's the biggest thing with Chet.
Yeah, that's it.
The stronger Chet gets, the more it's like, yo, if you can't bully Chet, if you can't push him out the way, Chet is a problem. There's nothing you can do with Chet.
Yeah.
He is a immovable object on the court. Like he is there, and it's nothing that you could do to get around it.
I hope he looked good in preseason in the 8 minutes or so he played until he went.
Can't wait for the season to start, man.
Yeah, we play him tonight. I don't know if Chet gonna play, but
I'm gonna be locked into that game for sure, Mars.
And actually, hopefully he does play, so Sengun can give him 14 in 12 minutes. And I'm like,
oh, Jesus.
DPOY, man.
Who's the next name?
All right. So we have our honorable mentions. They are out of the way. Now let's get to our top 5 defensive player of the year candidates. All right, y'all. At 5, coming in hot, is Evan Mobley.
I had
Mobley. You
had him number 1.
Yes, I did. I had him at the top of the list. And
okay.
For what you guys have told me about, you just brought up Chet playing the amount of games that he played, his versatility. Mars and I have had this conversation. We talk about Evan Mobley as a switchable defender, not just a switchable defender, a recovery defender. I think he's one of the best in the league. And I think the biggest problem with him just last season alone was durability. He barely played half the season. That's why he was not in the mix. So now, if he can stay healthy, he's 100% back in the mix, because if I look at this Cleveland team, one of the main reasons why they were at the top of the league defensively was because of him and his ability to switch, his ability to recover defensively, his ability to glass clean, his ability to block shots. Sure, I got a guy in Jared Allen who also blocks shots, but I think that Evan Mobley, I think he's far more advanced in a lot of those areas, and I think he's their signal caller. I think he's their Lawrence Taylor. I think he's their guy on defense who does all of that stuff for him, and I think he's a lot more advanced in terms of his IQ. I don't think he's one of those guys that's just because I'm bigger and stronger than everybody, that's why I'm out here. No, I think that he understands the game defensively a lot better than a lot of other people do, especially at his advanced age. I think he's the defensive player of the year this year.
I can respect that, but me personally, I want to see more from Evan Mobley, specifically in the lineups with Jared Allen off of the floor. I think Mobley has a ton of versatility that he adds, but I think the Cavs team defense has routinely been better with Jared Allen on the floor in place of Mobley, and that's why I kind of taxed him and he didn't make my list. I think it's close. I think he's a very good defensive player, but more times than not, with Jared Allen not on the floor, their defense isn't better. And I think that kind of speaks to where he's growing in terms of his strength and being a more physical defensive player.
Gifted, how is their defense worse with Mobley off the floor? Even with Allen on the floor, how is their defense worse with Mobley on the floor? With a guy who's as switchable as he is, a guy who's the glass cleaner that he is, how is their defense worse with him?
No, I'm saying it's worse in terms of, like, if you have to have one big on the floor.
Okay, that's what I'm talking about. Just if you got one guy, I got Allen on the floor and I got Mobley off the floor. So if I got Allen off the floor and I got Mobley on the floor, their defense is worse. And what are we predicating that on?
Well, Allen is a better rebounder and rim protector than Mobley is. I think Mobley is a better outside defender.
Rim protector, no, but defensive anchor, yes. And I think Gifted's on something in his rookie season. In his rookie season, when you remember when Evan Mobley got hurt to end the season. Sorry, when Jared Allen got hurt to end the season, what happened to their defense?
It fell apart.
It completely fell apart.
It went the other way. Sure.
So you need them both. In an ideal world,
but wait a minute, Penn. But wait a minute, Penn. Now, can we talk about being more in terms of continuity? Because I only played half the season, so there's a reason why our defense went the other way. It's not like I just step on the floor and for.
And I mean, he's not talking about the other years.
He was a rookie. I mean, that's under. I mean, he wasn't as good as he is now. I'm looking at Evan. This is I'm statistically now. There's a lot of lineups, a bunch of different things. Who's playing what games? But Evan Mobley in his career, so since 21-22 to now, with him on the floor without Jared Allen, they have a 111.2 defensive rating. With both of them on the floor together, these are all like very large samples. 3,100 minutes with Evan Mobley without Jared Allen, 3,000 minutes together. They have a 110.9. So it's like a 0.3 difference, 110.9 defensive rating. And then Jared Allen without Evan Mobley in 2,986. So basically all the same sample size. They have a 111.7. So technically, their best lineup is both of them. Their second best is Evan Mobley without Jared Allen. And their third best is Jared Allen without Evan Mobley. And then without both of them, it's a 113.9. But like, they're basically the same regardless. Like, it's like it's a 0.8 difference between both of them and Jared Allen.
They do different things defensively. Obviously, Evan Mobley is going to get more blocks, and Jared Allen's probably going to get more rebounds. Evan Mobley is going to be a little bit more switchable, but it's not like Jared Allen's a complete slouch in that regard.
No, he's not.
I think the defensive player of the year, unfortunately, is almost always a narrative-based thing. It's an eye test-based thing because the analytics are not at a point where we can really say that. And I think most voters are going to see if the Cavs surprise, if they're a top 4 seed, and Evan Mobley's blocking a lot of shots, and we can see some progression from him, and he has a couple of big national television games where everyone kind of watches him get like 7-8 rebounds. 7-8 blocks. That's going to swing it in his favor.
Well,
Jared Allen simply isn't as young, and he's not as hyped.
Yeah. I just want to ask Mars, is he talking about like the entire collective from his rookie year to now? Because I was only going off of like, okay, yeah. I was mainly looking at the 22-23 season because I think like that was their most like productive stretch. In that season specifically, when Mobley's on the floor, their defensive rating is 111. When it was only Jared Allen, I'm pretty sure that was like a 108 or 109. Let me double check. Yeah. Points per possession was 109.1. The whole totality of it, I can hear that, but I only focus on that 1 year just to see like in their best overall season what it looked like.
Well, to double back to Penn's point, and I want to stay where you are, Penn. Like the narrative logic doesn't work. And the reason why the narrative logic doesn't work is because people hate Rudy as a defender. They don't like Rudy as a defender. They hate him, even though we as basketball people who know the game, we love Rudy as a defender. So the narrative logic doesn't work with him because if the narrative logic, because if it was a narrative, he would never win, ever. Because people hate him as a defender, 100%. There's people, he's got to defend the fact that he's won the defensive player of the year, the amount of times that he's won. Like how
literally.
He actually has to defend that. So with that being said, when I think about the narrative, I think it matters in some things. League MVP, yes, 100%. It could definitely matter in league MVP. Now, when you put a team together like what Cleveland has, more times than not, and I've said this, I've mentioned this to you guys, more times than not, it's the best player on the best defensive team. That's what it's mainly been. If you think about last year, Minnesota, numero uno in defense. Jaren Jackson, when he won it, they were second in defense. When the year before that, when Marcus Smart won it, they were number 1 in defense, Boston was. When, when Giannis won it, Milwaukee, I think they were second in defense.
No,
they were number one in defense. So it's more times than not, it's the best player on the best defensive team. Now, when Cleveland, the year that Evan Mobley finished second, I think Cleveland was 3rd in the league in defense that year, if I'm not mistaken.
That's such a stupid way to look at it. That's dumb to look at it that way because how good your second, third, fourth best defenders are is going to massively impact how good your defense 100%. Is. Right. So you can take an individual floor raising defender like a Rudy Gobert or a Victor Wembanyama, where they by themselves can make you a league average defense, versus a guy who can come into a situation where everyone's a really good defender like Boston and then take them to the elite level. So is Jason Tatum going to win Defensive Player of the Year because he's the best defender on the Boston Celtics, or Drew Holiday is going to win Defensive Player because he's the best defender on the Boston on the best defensive team? I think that logic is flawed. I think, and at the same time, it's hard because you can't exactly surgically remove the individual contributions defensively of one player. But I think what Evan Mobley is going to do is going to be greatly aided.
Underappreciated.
And no, I think it's going to be greatly helped by how much Jared Allen does.
Now, remember too, Penn, now we're talking about in year 2, where he's running around with a second-year Darius Garland. You know, he's running. There is no Donovan Mitchell, right? He's got a Rook in Okoro, right? These are the guys that he's running around with. Meanwhile, this team is at the top of the league. They were a playing team the year before. They're at the top of the league defensively, where they are now. So I can appreciate your logic in the second and third, how good your second and third defender are. A lot of that can be predicated on how good your one defender is. He makes a lot of those guys better.
Sure.
That's why I took data from the 22-23 campaign, because that was like a good year for them.
Sure.
Well, I mean, look, I had Evan Mobley on my list, so I'm not pushing back. I didn't have him at number 1, but I had him on the list. I think he's great.
I'm not mad.
And he's stronger this year. By the way, I've been watching him all summer. He does
look stronger this year, doesn't he? Yeah.
He looked good.
Fair.
It should be a breakout season for Evan Mobley.
For sure.
I think the biggest thing
All-star.
that will contribute to him winning the DPOY this year is it helps that he was already second in the running the year. I believe
22.
JJ won it. Yeah.
So
Wasn't he?
Yeah. Third?
I'll check.
He was in front of Bam.
I think he was second. I think he was second.
Evermo, and this might sound counterintuitive, but this is just how I feel. He was third, 22-23.
Okay.
Evan Mobley got to improve offensively to increase his chances of winning Defensive Player of the Year.
I know exactly what Mars is saying. And like, I feel like he has a good chance because I think here, right? I think the Cavs are a very interesting team, by the way, because what often happens is if a team outperforms expectations, they give the award to that team. So if the Cavs wind up being like a top 3 seed and they have a top 5 defense, Mobley's going to be in that real conversation to win the entire thing. So that's valid. And for him to do that, he would have to become a better offensive player as well, I would imagine.
I think every single award, almost every single award, is always going to come down to relative to expectations.
100% on that.
So if a team preseason is pegged to win 32 wins, and through a combination of 85 different factors, they managed to win 48 wins, that Coach of the Year award is going to go to that coach. MVP votes are going to go towards that star player. Defensive Player of the Year votes. So the real question is, how good do you expect the Cleveland Cavaliers defense to be? And how good do you expect the Cleveland Cavaliers to be? And then how much better can they be because Evan Mobley is just that damn good? That'll dictate it. Because I'll tell you right now, there is such a strong bias right now towards Victor Wembanyama that putting anyone in this award list for the next 5 years is probably crazy, in my opinion. Maybe they'll get tired after 3 years of him winning it and they'll give it to somebody else. But you have to understand, at some point, it's going to matter what people expected of you to begin with. And maybe people are sleeping on Evan Mobley right now. And this is why he has a chance to do this, because last year he took a step back. But per people's expectations, people said he had a massive slump in year 3 because he didn't really improve his numbers on year 2. So people are a little bit down on him right now. So now the expectations are low. So now if he jumps it, now the narrative starts to spin. It's like, okay, Evan Mobley is Defensive Player of the Year. I would not be surprised at all if he finishes number 2.
All right, y'all. As of right now, this is the list. We have at 10, Herb Jones. At 9, Jaden McDaniels. At 8, Keegan Murray. At 7, Triple J. At 6, Chet Holmgren. And at 5, Evan Mobley. All right, y'all. Coming in at 4. Feast your eyes on the screen because this is who we have. Anthony Davis.
Are we just in a space with Anthony Davis where he's just going to always be in the mix, kind of like Tim Duncan?
Yeah, I don't think he's going to win
He's never going to win it. He's never going to win it. I've accepted that. He's going to be the best or second best or third best defender.
He's always going to be a top 3 defender, but he's just never going to win it.
When I seen that GM poll, best centers and Wemby's above Anthony Davis, was like, all right, cool. The league just doesn't respect what he does. I don't know what it is. I don't know why they don't respect what he does, but they don't respect what he does. So it's cool.
If I'm being honest with you, Mars, it's because he plays for the Lakers. Because the reason why, and hear me out. When Anthony Davis was playing in New Orleans, he never had the soft tag on him, ever. He wasn't breaking down when he was in New Orleans. He was playing almost, I think 5 of the 6 seasons he played there, he played almost 70 games a year. He never had the soft tag. He gets with the Lakers. He starts to break down, and then he starts to get back in the mix. But there's still that tag of him being soft. So people completely forget how valuable he is with all the other stuff that he does as a defender. I think Anthony Davis, if it wasn't this season that just passed, last season, at the 22-23 season, how much he was on the floor, I think he led the league in rebounding. Nobody talks about that at all. Nobody talks about the fact that he's the glass cleaner that he is. Last season, the year that they went to the Western Conference Championship, there was a legit argument. Anthony Davis is the best defensive player in the game. The reason why the Lakers were what they were as a defensive team was solely, not partially, it was solely because of him. But because he got on the Lakers, and he's been broken down as much as he's been broken down. Now he's gotten that soft tag, so people completely disregard everything else that he does. The glass cleaner that he is, the rim protector that he is, the paint presence that he is. They completely get rid of all of that stuff because we weren't saying that when he was in New Orleans, how good he was as a defender.
Yeah, he still never won a DPOY over there, but it is what it is. I think he's the
he
best
gets a lot
defender
of
in the
respect as a
sport.
defender.
I mean, maybe by the fans. I think the fans respect him as a defender. I think the voters don't. I think the GMs clearly don't. I think just how good he is defensively. I don't think he's going to win a Defensive Player of the Year award at this point. I think his regular season effort is less consistent, so I think that's going to hold him back. I think at his age, he just can't give as much as he used to on defense on a consistent basis.
He's 30, he's in his prime. He's 30 years old.
Everyone ages differently. Anthony Davis.
Wasn't there this entire narrative started by Richard Jefferson or someone that, you know, he's the best player to not win MVP or Defensive Player of the Year? Wasn't that whole agenda started? So the media's mind is already turning. If the Lakers surprise this year, if they're like a 50-win team or something like that, I think he'll win it. But you know who doesn't get any love? And I'm surprised that he didn't make anyone's list? Joel Embiid.
I think Joel Embiid is a good thing. The games play for me is the only reason why I'm not too sure about that.
And his regular season effort wanes as well. Which
I was about to ask you guys, because Gifted, you just said he doesn't play enough. Okay, let's just say he played that many games. When I think he finished third in Defensive Player of the Year, in I think it was 18. It was him, Rudy, and
he came second. AD came third that year.
Second that year. When was the last time he played at that level?
For a season?
For the whole season. When's the last time he played at that level as a defender?
I mean, you could argue in 2019 he did it again.
He's a great defender every year.
He's great every year.
He's a great rim protector.
And when he's locked in, I think he's the second best drop defender in the league. After Rudy,
he's a great drop defender.
And then in the postseason, I think he's always
better than Bam.
I don't think Bam's that good in drop, but that's a whole nother conversation.
Okay.
I think Embiid is a consistency thing, it's an effort thing. He just has such an offensive burden. I don't think he can give you that level of intensity on defense every single play. No one does it every play, but as close to every play as possible. Like Bam's motor is just going to always be higher on defense. And I think his defensive value just ramps up in the postseason anyway, just because of how much of a paint presence he is. When it comes to like the fast pace of the regular season and he's having to step up and do more things, he's a postseason defender. He's elite. I think he's one of the, when he's dialed in, you can make a case he's one of the 5 best defenders in the league, definitely one of the 10 best defenders in the league. But just over a course of 82 games, I just don't think that's where his value is really captured. And I think AD's becoming the same. AD in the postseason, I'm not taking a defender over him. Personally, you give me AD.
Nah, postseason Anthony Davis.
How would you rank Giannis, Joel Embiid, and Anthony Davis?
In terms of consistency or just
in terms of who? Okay, let's lay out the scenario. You go into the NBA Finals, you got a hole at the 4 or 5, and you can plug it with one of these guys, and your goal is defensive, like to win the game defensively.
Wait, you said a hole?
Yeah, like you got a hole.
We got a front court spot. Giannis, AD, and Embiid. AD is one.
I'll take Anthony Davis, yes.
AD is one, and as respectfully as possible, I'm comfortable with that decision. 2 and 3. Giannis offers me more versatility.
He does.
I think. But Embiid offers me just a paint presence that I don't think Giannis can replicate.
It depends on how good your other 4-man is or your 5-man.
I'd probably go AD, Giannis, Embiid, just because I'm going to value the versatility when I don't know the situation. I'm going to take the one who I trust in more situations. But if you're telling me I'm going in a situation where I need a drop big, I'm going Embiid, AD, Giannis. But if you're telling me versatility is AD, Giannis, Embiid.
So I got a question. Why aren't we as critical of Anthony Davis, who, I mean, for all intents and purposes, you saw how Joker had Rudy in a blender and had him struggling. But then we watch Joker do the same thing to Anthony Davis on the way to the championship. Meanwhile, Anthony Davis is still considered the elite of the elite defenders. But Rudy on the other hand, garbage.
I think a lot of that is because of what we've seen him do moments wise in the playoffs. I mean, you have the year before that where you saw how dominant he was, where he was having like 10 block games in the playoffs against, I would say, Memphis. And then the very next series after that single-handedly ruined every lineup you saw from Golden State because of his paint ability.
Remember when the Warriors went to Jermichael Green and thought that was the answer?
I will never forget watching that as a Warriors fan. It was
monkey wrench and everything they was doing.
It was tough.
Yeah, that's why I'm taking him in the playoffs over everyone. The amount of things he can do, like
it's just wild. We can do in the playoffs.
He's a one-man wrecking ball defensively, and that's why I hate when people say versatility is just being able to guard multiple positions. It's so much more than that.
It's not just that.
It's so much more than that, Mars. Yeah,
I don't think AD is the most switchable, but I think he's by far the most versatile defender in the league.
I think one of the issues why do people look at Rudy like that and not Anthony Davis, because I think that Anthony Davis can score. Because I'm on record saying it, and Damo was the one who actually convinced me of it. And the more I watch Anthony Davis, I think that it's official. Anthony Davis he's a defender who can score. That's who he is more than anything. And because he's a defender who can score, the fact that he can score kind of supplements him getting his ass bust, because he can give you buckets. So sometimes it evens out. Like, I'm going to cancel out this guy's production where, Joker goes 32, 13, and 7. Anthony Davis will give you, 29, 14, and 6. And it kind of cancels out what he's doing. Even though, if you look at what Joker's doing, Joker fries him. But because he's coming back on the other end of the floor, it just looks better.
Yeah, I mean, AD's never going to get taken off the floor. I mean, people say Rudy gets taken off because of defense when they're wrong. It's because of offense. But because he gets taken off the floor at all, and he's a defensive player of the year, it's like, oh my God, AD's never going to have that problem because of how superior he is offensively.
Agreed.
Also, Rudy just looks weird when he plays defense. Like, we can call it what it is. He just looks weird. Like, every single analytic, and in my opinion, watching the games will tell you Rudy can switch and he can guard on the perimeter better than people give him.
It just looks weirder than it would.
It just looks. He looks stupid when he
does
it. I'm gonna be honest. He looks stupid when he does it, but it works. He's perfectly fine out there.
Yeah.
6 years ago, he 2018,
not so much.
Mars,
but now he's perfectly fine out there. He holds his own better than most bigs who people think are better than him on the perimeter. But because he just looks funky and he doesn't look like he has control of his limbs and he's junky, it's like, it doesn't look.
I really
and then
think
when
the reason why
it looks bad.
Yeah,
like,
I really think the reason why they disrespect Gobert defensively, and this really upsets me, is because of how much of a zero he is offensively. If
negative,
he had
negative,
it, yes,
negative.
Okay, well, yeah. Point is, if he was better than that offensively, I don't think there would be nearly as much hate for him. I always go back to the Terrence Mann stuff. People I don't think really watch that series because it's so obvious that their scheme is to give up the corner three to Terrence Mann, but everyone else is getting blown by. So now, as the paint defender, Gobert has to make a consistent choice. Do I always give up consistent blow-bys, or do I yield the three? And their scheme was, we're going to let a rookie player beat us, and they beat him. And then they say, oh, look, Gobert, such a bad. But the real issue is offensively, Gobert could not create consistent advantages against their defense. If he could do that, they win the series.
Yeah, but they talking, by the way. On as far as the defense goes, it's really just like what you said, Morris. Like, and I don't know how many times I gotta say that, but a lot of times people just don't have any idea what they're looking at. They don't know what they're watching when they're watching basketball. They have to use the stats. They have to use the analytics to make it make sense to them. They don't even know what they're watching on the basketball court. You know what I mean? But also, I do want to say this, and it's of no consequence. We don't got to argue about it. He's not a zero or a negative on offense.
Cool. Yeah. But even the issue is the analytics even point to Rudy being an elite defender. Like, that's the problem.
Yeah.
If you watch the games and you understand how defense works, Rudy's an elite defender. That's the conclusion you should get to.
Everything points to him being a good defensive player.
The analytics point to it. And if you can't watch that, the basic stats point to it. Like, everything points to one direction, but yet somehow the fan opinion is grossly on the opposite end of the spectrum.
It's because he's a bad offensive player.
I've just given up on Rudy conversations. Is just something I'm not gonna have with people who just think he's not good. Like, I'm gonna pick my battle.
Real quick, before you get to the next,
I'm just gonna pick my battle.
Real quick before you get to the next thing, I got to bounce, but I want to give Nafisa Collier a lot of credit since we're on this whole DPOY conversation. Most points per game by a DPOY. They're in the finals now. It's going to be a live finals. I just want to leave with that.
No, it's not. hey, Gifted. No, it's not.
Oh,
so who you got now?
Hey, they got a fee to pay. Everybody got a fee to pay.
Okay.
Everybody has a fee to pay.
They got a fee to pay. I like that. I like that a lot.
Stewie got a hands full. Stewie got her hands full with this girl.
Definitely got her hands full for sure.
Yes, she does.
I mean, she got her hands full too, but I think it's Fiji here.
Yeah.
Hey, might the Lynx be a little too small for New York?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's the only thing I'm worried about. I'm sure the Lynx can shoot themselves into keeping it a good close series. But I don't know if the Liberty might be a little too big, man.
Yeah, just Jonquel got to close out. Stewie got to move her feet. Stewie do play hellified defense, but
yeah,
she up against it. But I mean, that's gonna be a hell of a matchup either way it goes. Because
they had Jonquel guarding Asia. Are they gonna have Jonquel trying to guard Nafisa too?
No.
Who is
not gonna work?
Guard? I'm just asking.
She got to guard Alana.
Alana,
yeah. And
so
she gonna be.
I don't like Jonquel in space like that. I don't.
Yeah, I don't either.
With Fee, I do not like her in that kind of space.
Well, she gonna be in space with Alana Smith too, though.
But she
was in space with Asia, but with Asia will get on that block, and Asia gonna bang with you. With Fee is so versatile where she can play on the box, she can play in the mid post, she can play in a lot of wide open space with the ball. No, I don't want Jonquel dealing with Fee in that kind of space. No, we got to figure something out. And don't be surprised, Ox, if they play more zone this series.
Think so?
Yeah.
They're gonna shoot their ass out that zone.
Yeah, Lynx in this many.
It's a tough matchup on both sides of the court. Look at it. It's gonna be good. This is gonna be a really good series.
On top of that, Kayla McBride is the ultimate champion. See, y'all only know Kayla McBride from the WNBA. I know Fenerbahce Kayla McBride. I know the work she puts in overseas to win those championships over there. Back when overseas basketball was more popular and even better than the WNBA, Kayla McBride was over there putting in work and getting championships. Kayla McBride. What you mean?
Like better for you to watch. Like you like them more.
No, I just think it's a better league over there. It's players over there that don't. It's players over there that don't come over here and play. But
yeah, I understand.
Most of the players from over here go over there and play.
Yeah, but WNBA as far as WNBA is still better though.
I disagree.
I just think WNBA is the best league as far as basketball goes, competition wise. But no, I hear you though. My bad. Go ahead.
But she was over there putting in work at Fenerbahce, winning championships over there. And so she might not have that type of resume in the WNBA, but she is a storied champion. She is a champion. So what she brings to the table and what she's gonna do for the Lynx in this championship, I think she elevates her game a couple notches too. Courtney Williams is already balling. We don't got to talk too much about Nafisa, but Kayla McBride is the person who I'm looking at in this series to win the Lynx this championship.
So you telling me this will be the 7th time the Liberty go to the finals and still don't win the championship?
Yeah, I mean, hey, Nafisa Collier and Kayla McBride ain't nothing to mess around with.
Liberty in 5.
Oh man.
Okay.
All right, y'all. But it's time to get to this next name. And surrounding this name, we got a couple different things we got to talk about. But number 3 on the list is Rudy Gobert.
We just talked about him. Perfect.
I don't have Rudy on the list. And I did not have Rudy on the list. I didn't have Rudy on the list. Same reason why I don't think Joker's winning the league MVP, because I feel like I think that logic is dead now. Like
you made your list based on who you actually like, not who you think deserves it. You did it based on who you think actually win it.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
Me too.
Yeah.
Same.
And I think Rudy now is in that. I think he's in that Joker. I think he's in that James area where he's gonna have to do something astronomical in order for them to for the crew to be the number 1 defense in the league, and for him to be, in the top 3 in the league in rebounding, and for him to lead the league in blocks. That's not enough. That's not.
Okay, well, what about team success? What if the Minnesota Timberwolves get 65 wins?
He's not winning it.
Avery B sent through a super chat. He said, I asked this before, but didn't stay for the answer. He said, since we are speaking of defense, how come voter fatigue didn't play a role in Rudy Gobert winning 4 DPOYs? We've seen fatigue stop guys winning MVPs.
That's what I'm talking about when I talk about the narrative. People hate him. That's what I'm talking about when I talk about the narrative.
What years did he win it? 18?
So he won it in 18, he won it in 19, he won it in 21, and he won it last year.
Yeah, I think there was enough time in between them. Maybe that's what it is. 21 and 24. There's enough time where it doesn't feel like he keeps winning it every year. Maybe. Also, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, some of them just weren't close. Now, 18, I don't think he should have won, but that was his first one. So
the only one I won't argue, Mars, is 21. Like, you can't give me legit logic in 21. No, I won't argue that one.
21, I think was fine. 21, I think was fine. 18, that was Anthony Davis in my opinion, but
over Embiid.
It was Anthony Davis in my opinion. It wasn't Rudy Gobert. I mean, but I'm gonna go with AD, but it wasn't Rudy. That's why I'm certain of. But
yeah, Royce O'Neal and
can I point to something? Y'all said Rudy Gobert is a complete negative on offense, and I don't agree with that.
I don't agree with that neither.
That's what I said.
I'm the only one who believes it.
Okay.
That's me.
So like a lot of things that he does positively offensively, he gets to the line a lot. He gets a lot of offensive rebounds. That helps. And he's in like the 97th percentile in terms of efficiency.
Like, which Mars hates around the rim. I don't understand why Mars is an efficient guy, and he hates the fact that this guy
bigs who don't finish as well as he does.
What he does around the rim.
So
I'm about to move off this Rudy Gobert offensive talk because Pin,
because he gets dunks. Like, I'm sorry.
Pin, you got some things you're trying to get to. Got some other things that I'm trying to get to as well. Okay. And then we got 2 more names on the list. What I do want to bring up though is it's funny that Mars just went down that road of what years Rudy should have and shouldn't have won, because Rudy Gobert just made a statement. Now, Rudy Gobert was asked about his Defensive Player of the Year awards, and he said, show me who should have won those years. Yeah. He basically asked for receipts for the doubters of his 4 DPOYs.
Yep.
It should have been AD or Embiid in 2018. 2021 was rightfully his. Last year, I think, was rightfully his. And then 2019, I think, was probably him as well. I think he should have 3. I just don't think he should have 4. But I don't care enough to be like, I don't care. I just think 18 was wrong.
Was it close in 18?
He played 56 games. I'm not giving you DPOY playing 56 games. I'm just not. I'm sorry. That's the least amount of games in an 82-game season any defensive player of the year has ever played. The only ones who played less was Alonzo Mourning in the 50-game season. Even Tyson Chandler in the lockout season in 2012 played more than 56 games.
That's correct.
I'm not giving no defensive player of the year a defensive player of the year when he played 56 games. And the Jazz defense didn't even fall off a cliff when he didn't play. The only reason they were still top 10 is because they were actually competent when he weren't on the floor. So that old Rudy Gobert Jazz argument of, they're the worst defense in the league when he's not on the floor, but they're really good with him. That wasn't even the truth in 2018. So I can't even give him that out. Like, everything points to me that he wasn't a defensive player of the year. He didn't play enough. The old adage of, number 1 when he's there and number 30 when he's not there, that wasn't true. He wasn't a defensive player of the year. And just watching him, he's clearly not as good as Anthony Davis. So
I think they were second in the league defensively that year in 18, and the year before that they were third. And so he's got a Rook and Royce O'Neal, and he's got who's on that crew. I mean, Donovan Mitchell had just got on the crew. He's a Rook. He's got Mike Conley on the crew. I think he doesn't have Jordan Clarkson yet. He's got Joe Ingles on that crew. Haywood. Haywood was gone. Rodney Hood. Like these are the guys that he has on that crew. And I don't think that he's the polished defender in 18 that he is in 22 or in 23. No, I don't think that. But I think for what he had brought to that unit, I think that and when I think about it, I think Joel Embiid was a better rebounder than him that year too, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think he was top 5 in the league in rebounding that year. I think he barely averaged. He almost averaged 11 rebounds that year, if I'm not mistaken. So I think there was more of a conversation in 18 than it was any other year.
You played 56 games. I'm sorry, you're not winning no DPOY playing 56 games.
All right, y'all. Rudy Gobert's third on our list. Coming in second.
This is easy.
Are you sure, Chill?
Bam. Oh, yeah, I was bugging. I couldn't think.
Bam is second on our list.
Bam, 100%. It's definitely Bam. Bam is one of those guys who, when you think about defense, you got to nitpick something. I think he could be a better rebounder than what he is. But other than that, there isn't a lot of flaws in his game. Mars doesn't like him in drop. I actually love him in drop. And the reason why I love him in drop is because his ability to recover. That's why, and more than anything. Because when you get guys in drop, more times than not, if it's not Luka, then a guy's going to probably shoot that 15-footer or that 19-footer. Or you can't get downhill against him in drop. That's not going to work. And what you're not going to be able to do is if you got him in drop, you're not going to be able to get around him. So now if you try to shot fake him or hesitate, he can recover. He's so good at that. And he's not a mismatch with any of these guys because of his ability to switch. So now when you put all of those things together, you have one of the best defensive players in the game. Now, would I like to see him glass clean a little bit more? I think he could be just as good a rebounder as Sabonis. But I think that because of what Miami does in terms of their ability as a unit to gang rebound, I think that takes away from him. But if I'm nitpicking one thing with Bam, it's his ability to rebound. That's it.
He's a great rebounder.
I think he's really good, to be honest. The nitpick I have is he's not that good of a rim protector compared to the other guys, compared to Rudy, compared to Wemby, compared to AD, compared to Evan Mobley, Chet. But he's
also the smallest out of all those guys too.
Yeah, so it's a virtue of his size, and he's so switchable that he doesn't play the typical rim protection role. But I also just don't think that's where he's best. He's best when it comes to switching or hedging or doing all of those other mobile things. So you don't really want to have him in that regard. But in terms of rebounding, I think he's about as good as he's probably going to ever be. The effort he has when it comes to rebounding, when it comes to boxing out, I'm pretty sure he leads the league in box outs. Like, he's competing, he does everything. He makes the most out of the tools he has defensively. Like, there's no question to me that he is probably as good as he can be defensively. He does everything that his size and his athleticism and his tools allow him to do defensively, and he's really, really good. Now, the reason I don't think he's going to win a Defensive Player of the Year is probably because of the rim protection stuff, and I don't think his numbers are going to look as eye-popping as other guys. But I think he has a case to be the best defender in the league. I wouldn't pick him, but if someone said they think he's the best defender in the league, I would understand it. But I just think he's going to fall into the AD
better
territory.
than Ben Simmons, for real.
Yes.
I said I would have made the argument. I'm just saying, but
I'm kidding.
I think he's gonna fall into the AD category of he's never gonna win a Defensive Player of the Year, but people are gonna know how good he is defensively. And if they don't know, people are gonna start talking about it. Oh, he's the most underrated defenders ever. Oh, Bam Adebayo, he never won it. And I'm gonna be there spearheading that conversation. I don't think he's gonna win it, but I can see why people think he's gonna win it. He should have won it in 22 in my opinion.
I was about to say, Miles, I think that was the one. If he was ever gonna win it, I think that was the year that he was gonna win it.
Yeah, they were hell set on giving it to a god, so it just wasn't meant to be. But that was the year I think he probably should have won it.
Where did everybody have Bam on their list?
I had him at 2.
3? Wait, let me see. No, I had him 2.
Mm-hmm.
I think I had him 3 or 4.
I had him 2. I had Wemby 1, obviously, spoiler. Bam, AD, Mobley, and Chet. Yep. I didn't have Rudy for the same reason Chill didn't have Rudy. He's just not going to win it. And this might be an ill taste, but Dikembe dying has made it even more of a confirmation he's not winning. They're not going to take away Dikembe's record of having the most Defensive Player of the Years right after he passed away. They're just not. I'm sorry. They're not going to ruin his legacy in that way. So that confirmed it even more. But he's not going to
ruin his legacy, though.
If Dikembe has a few things that he can claim that put him at the top of something. One of them is having the most Defensive Player of the Years with him, Ben Wallace, and now Rudy. Him passing away, I don't think they're going to, the next year, take that away from him. I don't think
I'm not sure if the NBA cares that much about Dikembe.
100% they do, especially to a guy who the narrative on him already is that he shouldn't have been the Defensive Player of the Year as many times as he's been a Defensive Player of the Year. Now what we're going to do is we're going to give him the Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, especially when it's Rudy Gobert.
Right.
All I'm saying, this just brings me back to this thing I've been saying to you for a minute. It's like
they don't matter. I agree.
Why are we talking about it if these are the type of things we have to consider with winning these awards? These awards mean nothing if at the end of the day we're like, oh, well, you can't get that many because Dikembe Mutombo died. Like, I go, what? So what does it matter then?
I agree. I just care who the best defender in the league is. I don't care who wins the awards, but the players care about it. Bam spoke about it. Bam wants to win it. Bam wants to win it.
100%, and he said it more than once.
AD has made it clear that he wanted to win one, but he's accepted that he's not going to. So the players care about it. Me, I'm gonna keep saying it.
So
nothing is gonna convince me to catch. Nothing.
So we gonna give DPOY to Joel Embiid so that another African brother could get it in honor of Dikembe Mutombo?
That's a great idea.
I don't think that's what Ox just said that.
Then I'll start caring about the awards. I'll start caring about the awards.
But that African brother you just said played for Team USA, so maybe give it to somebody else.
I mean, Bam technically African.
Yes.
Idris, yeah. Idris.
Bam.
But hold on, no. I want to ask. So where were the Heat ranked defensively last year?
I'll look it up for you, man.
I know that the year he missed out on it in 22. I think that they were 3rd in the league that year defensively.
Bro, give it to Giannis. Give it to Giannis.
They were 5th last year.
They were 5th.
So the top 5 defense last year, and they were top 5 defense the year that Bam came. I think he came in 2nd to Marcus Smart.
In 2022 they were 5th. Yeah, in 2022.
Yeah, Bam definitely got action. It's just the person who's number 1 on this list, Victor Wembanyama, I think is just kind of everything's pointing in his direction.
This is the narrative thing that Penn was talking about.
But yeah, Victor got the narrative. He's gonna have the numbers to back it.
You want to know something funny? He's also half African.
He is.
Oh, yeah.
I think his father. I was about to say his father's from Congo. Yep, that is true.
I'm pretty confident he's not the best defender in the league, but I'm also pretty confident he's gonna win the Defensive Player of the Year. So
I think a lot of this is, and I catch a lot of heat for it, and I'm here for it. I know what it is. I think that you guys, and not just you guys, I think the people in the NBA are projecting on how good he's going to be in the future. I don't think he's that good right now as a defender. I think a lot of the stuff that he does, it's predicated on him just being bigger, more athletic than a lot of other people. And on top of that, we haven't seen a guy in 40 years like this. So because he's as rangy as he is, as long as he is, he's got a lot of flaws defensively, a lot. And what he's going to be in the future, I think it's going to be unmatched. I don't think he's there yet. And I think that because he was the number 1 overall pick in the draft, and because the projection on him is him possibly being the GOAT, I think that people are pushing him to be this right now. And I don't think he's there yet.
I think he is there. I think he's great. You know, here's the thing. Being a rookie big man in the NBA is one of the hardest things, period. You don't know what's happening. The game is super fast. Everyone's coming at you. You haven't put on that 30, 40 pounds of grown man strength that you're going to need at some point. The fact that he was as good as he was needs to adjust the calculus completely. Now, whether he wins it this year or whether he wins it next year, at some point, this is the guy who's going to break Dikembe Mutombo's record. If he stays healthy, he might win 8. He might win 9. He might win 12. Because, again, it's not just that he's bigger. Because he's huge. 8 foot wingspan. That sounds like I'm describing a Martian, right? 7'4". It's not all of that. It's how well he tracks the basketball. It's how well he reads the court for his age, relative to his age. Is he reading it as well as Bam? No. Is he speaking as well as Bam defensively as an anchor? No. But he also doesn't have the pieces around him, right? Like defensively, how good he can be. Like what he was last year was he carried one of the most ass defenses. Like, who's the great defender around him? Who's so great? Who's the great defender? Is Devin Vassell a great defender? Is Keldon Johnson?
Sohan and Vassell are the closest they have to positive.
That's what I was thinking.
And Sohan's not anyone's definition of a top 30 defender in the league. So so can you imagine, just imagine this situation. Imagine putting him with Derek White and Drew Holiday as his point of attack defenders at the guard position.
Even if that's true, right. I think that would be great. But again, we're talking about guys who are a little bit more advanced. Like the example that you guys brought up when you're talking about signal callers, that's a guy understanding defenses. That's a guy who understands where to be, not fouling, how to rebound more effectively, how to get my team in transition, blocking shots, keeping the ball in bounds. I think Wemby, in terms of his ability, I think that he's on par with some of the all-time greats right now, but I think he's going to be much better in the future. Like you just mentioned, I don't think it's ridiculous to think that Wemby could be the best defensive player in the game for a decade. I don't think that's ridiculous to think that.
Yeah.
Barring any health, I don't think it's ridiculous to think that he could be and I'm an Evan Mobley guy. I am an Evan Mobley guy, but I don't think it's ridiculous in the future to think that he's going to be that good as a defender because of how he switches. We had this conversation, going into his rookie year. I thought he was going to average a block, just blocking threes because of how much ground he can cover. Just off the strength that he can cover as much ground as he can cover and how athletic he is. Now, does that mean that I actually know what I'm doing out here? Not really. I really don't know what I'm doing, but I know to put my hands up if this guy at the 22, 23-foot line is shooting the ball and I can get to it. I do know that. But I think we're overstating Wemby right now for what he's going to be. That's the only place that I'm at with him right now.
There's some level of projection that has to happen with all 20-year-olds. First of all, kids usually between the ages of 15 and 23, 24, you don't know when that jump is going to come. And it's not linear. It's not like 2, 2, 2, 2. It's like usually like 1, 1, 1, 7, 2. You know, that's where the jump comes. It's just like a growth spurt. I don't know when it's going to come. But with Wemby, he's so good already that if there is a growth spurt coming, he's not going to be the best defender in the league. He's going to be the best defender in NBA history. Like, the way this guy covers space is honestly insane. Until you expand the court or raise the rim, he's going to be unstoppable defensively. I've watched shooters change their form because he was 12 feet away. Like, what kind of an impact psychologically do you have on the offensive players when they won't even want to drive at you? There's clips online that have circled of like a compilation of like 12, 15, 18 players that just refuse to drive when he's in the rim, when he's in the paint, because the way he blocks you is honestly demoralizing. It's just demoralizing because there's no way he should be able to block some of the shots that he blocks. I watched him block OG Anunoby, and when OG started the shot, Wemby still had a foot in the paint.
When you got a guy that's 8 feet damn tall with his arms up, 11 feet tall with his arms up, it's pretty hard to look at the rim. And
he's fast and he's balanced. That's the important thing. That training that he does, you know, the barefoot training and all that flexibility shit. He's so fast. I've seen this guy almost fall over and recover his balance. At that size, that's not possible. He moves like a guard or a wing. He moves like a wing. He's like a 7'4" wing with an 8-foot wingspan. And the most important thing I like about him is he's really tough.
He is not soft. That's what I really dig that about Wemby. He is not soft. Like, not only is he not soft,
he hates you. Like, he hates you. Like this guy, you know, there are very few young players, rookies that come in and they're not starstruck. Like, they're just like, why not me? You know, that Derrick Rose thing. Why can't I win Rookie of the Year? Well, sorry, why can't I win MVP? Why not me? And then he wins it. So that lack of fear meshed with the nastiness. And he's going to debunk this whole Euros are soft shit all by himself, because this dude has like a nasty streak. If Giannis didn't do it for you, then this guy's going to go all the way for you, you know? So the fact that he attacks defensively, the fact that he takes a personal pride in it, the fact that he wants to win, and the fact that he's a media darling already, and this is his award to lose. If he doesn't win it, something went very wrong.
I'm looking at him. The fact that you brought that up, when I look at him, when he goes up against Chet, he really looks at Chet like, why is this dude out here with me? Why is he on Chet's the floor with me? And as awesome as Chet is, Wemby, I get the sense that he's looking at him like, this dude shouldn't be out here with me. He has nothing for me, not him. Y'all better go get somebody else, because this dude got nothing for me. I love him.
Yeah, well, let's see it against Sengun. Let's see it against Jokic. Let's see it against Embiid. Let's see it against Bam.
Okay.
Let's see it against those guys.
Sengun gave him 45.
I see a guy get a 10 block triple-double. I don't give a shit.
Against the Raptors, but what did he do against the Rockets?
Bro, it was embarrassing. I watched it live. I was there, courtside. I watched that shit live. It was something I'd never seen before in my life.
I won't lie. I caught a little bit of it. I didn't see the whole game, but from what I caught, it looked like the big kid in the yard against a bunch of kids. That's what it looked like.
And then Sengun made him look like a kid. So
because he is Mars. I'm sorry.
So Sengun was 21.
Wait till he figures out how to cut the angle off like a low center of gravity post.
Yeah, but I'm gonna always be able to say Sengun gave him 45.
All right, y'all. This is the list right now.
I hope we don't put 45 on Sengun at some point, because we're gonna shut that up.
Yeah, but Sengun not a defender though. So.
Here we go. Here we go.
All right, y'all. We have Herb Jones at 10, Jaden McDaniels at 9, Keegan Murray at 8, Triple J at 7, Chet Holmgren at 6, top 5, Evan Mobley at 5, Anthony Davis at 4, Rudy Gobert at 3, Bam Adebayo at 2, and Victor Wembanyama at number 1. We have Victor slotted to win the Defensive Player of the Year award here on PC.
Knicks
Other than
fans are gonna be
Keegan Murray,
so
I think
angry.
that's pretty good.
I'm mad for them right now. OG Anunoby not making this list is criminally insane.
Other than Keegan Murray, just swap Keegan Murray for OG Anunoby. I think we
Damn it,
actually
Ox.
came up with a good group. I'm gonna be honest. I'm not mad
Ox,
at it.
in Ox's defense, he forgot OG Anunoby existed, so he might have put OG over. Would you have put OG over Keegan if you had thought about him?
I would have put OG number 1.
Okay, so just swap Keegan out
But
for the sake of this list.
No, Keegan would have slid down to like 4 or something, and then Jaden McDaniels.
He would have slipped. He would have slipped from 4 to 5, and
So Jaden McDaniels would have came up.
So at least OG would have made the list though.
Yeah, and I don't think Keegan would have had enough points if he got 1/5 place vote. He would have been like
How? So yeah.
11. Yeah,
But he was still 8th on 1.
All right. So to the viewers who watch this later, just imagine you saw OG Anunoby instead.
No, because why didn't y'all put OG?
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm very comfortable with my 5. I don't regret my 5.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. If y'all didn't vote for OG, then just keep him out of this.
Yeah, but if you're putting wings, I think OG should have been there.
Well, if you didn't put OG, then I don't want to hear y'all talking about it.
Fair point, touche.
Did anyone not have Wemby number 1?
I didn't.
Yeah, he had Evan Mobley.
I think I had AD number 1.
Okay.
I like the optimism. I want AD to win one. Just because I know how.
Oh no, actually I didn't. I had Rudy 1, AD 2, Wemby 3.
What do you think about what do you think about the GM survey saying 77% of NBA GMs would start their franchise out right now with Victor Wembanyama?
I think 23% of them are capping.
I think that should be higher.
I think 23% of them have Jokic or Luka on their team, so they're just like, yeah, we're not gonna pick against them. But
it's anonymous.
Yeah, but they know they still know.
To start my franchise today, I got a 20-year-old alien from a different planet. Like he ain't from here. He just look like he's from here. He ain't from here. And I get and hopefully he's not made of glass. I get to start my franchise and I get to pick up all of these guys. I'm picking that guy.
All right, y'all. We're gonna go ahead and transition. We got a couple other good things to get into. First off, while we're on Wemby, Byron Scott did say something about Wemby. I just wanted to read this off. He said he expects Victor Wembanyama, who turns 21 in January, to be an all-star this season, maybe first or second team All-NBA. And for the Spurs, who went 22-60 last season, to sniff, if not make the playoffs for the first time since 2019. He said, quote unquote, if he's everything that I keep hearing about as far as his work ethic, and I've heard the kid is extremely humble and works extremely hard. He'll be the best player in the NBA in 3 years.
That's the to sniff the playoffs. Again, that's a 25 game improvement. 25 games in the West.
But that doesn't mean shit when you were trying to lose the first half of your season last year. Is Jeremy Sohan going to play point guard this year? No.
So, were they trying to lose or they just experiment? Like, let's see what.
I think they were trying to lose.
They were very comfortable in losing. They were
they got.
They weren't exactly mad.
They got way better. Okay.
So you think they're gonna be in the play?
I think they'll push 40 wins, 42 wins. Yeah.
20 games.
I respect the optimism. I agree with him though. All-star. I agree with that.
It won't all be Wemby.
I don't agree.
It won't all be Wemby. Look, like seasons are long, but they can be broken apart. You know what I mean? Like I remember the Magic y'all remember when the Orlando Magic in Paolo's rookie year, when they had that stretch where they beat a whole bunch of teams they weren't supposed to beat, like they beat Boston and Boston.
Yeah, they was beating the brakes off of Boston.
Happening here? And that was the signal. That was the signal. They were still a bad team. They didn't make the playoffs, but that was a signal that they had arrived, that something had clicked with that team. I think with Wemby, something clicked around January. Like he wasn't great to start the year. But from January onward, my God, he was a top 10 player, in my opinion, in the league.
How many minutes are we getting out of Wemby this season?
32, 33.
I don't know, man. But I did my top 20 yesterday, and I had him at 6. So
that's a projection, right? No,
it is a projection for right now, though. It's a projection for this year, like this year, which means I'm factoring in that this kid actually works mid-game. He works between games. Like, there's a lot of guys who are doing a lot of rest and recovery right now. This guy's chasing. Like he's going fast, so he's gonna get better. Like the player that starts the year, where a lot of players like who are a little bit older, you might actually argue Kawhi Leonard might be a little bit worse by the end of the year, wear and tear, getting older, whatever. This guy with Wemby and a lot of the young players, Anthony Edwards, maybe guys like that, you could argue based on where they are at their age, where they are with their basketball development, they might be like fundamentally different players by the end of the year. They might be much better. So I think right now he's a top 10 player. I think by year's end he will be like
today walking into
6.
the season. If the season started today, Victor Wembanyama is a top 10 player.
I say top 10, top 12. Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
And then by the end of it, I think
Wemby,
by the end of it, I think conclusively we will see him as a top 6 player. You watch. Let me know.
I hope you're right. You're higher on him than I am.
I'm here for it.
Yeah,
I am.
I got him in the top 20. I don't know where. I just know I got him in the top 20, but top 12.
I can see it though. Like you're not convincing me. I don't have him that high because it is a couple players that I just think are better just because of what they've done and what I expect them to do this year. But with Victor, if you were to tell me that he comes out and averages 26 this year, if you tell me he averages 11 rebounds this year, if you tell me he averages 3.5 blocks and he just looks better offensively, he's stronger, the IQ picks up some more.
What you just said, Ron, if he's 26-11, 3.5 blocks, and the San Antonio Spurs are a playoff team, Victor Wembanyama is the league MVP.
He'll get MVP votes.
I'm here for it, man.
He's the
I'm
league
not gonna
MVP.
lie.
I mean, chill. Here's the thing. I said 11 rebounds. He averaged 10.6 last year. I said 3.5 blocks. He averaged 3.6 last year. The only thing he has to do is score 5 more points. And the thing about it is, I think we all kind of know that he was on a minute restriction last year. I think we all kind of know that they didn't fully let him off the leash last year. I think we all kind of know he got better as the year went on. So if we take away the beginning months and we just do the averages from January to the end of the season, what was he averaging during those months? I think we have a summer of him getting better, stronger, working on his game, him averaging 5 more points. Now he's playing with Chris Paul. Now he's playing with Stephon Castle. Now the guys around him have got more competent. I don't think that is ridiculous for Wemby to average 26. And I'm not Penn. I don't have him at 6. I don't have him
Just
top
the
10
strength
yet,
of what they've done in terms of their team.
I'm not shocked by that at all.
I think some people are just really mad about it. They think it's like unearned. They think the hype is like what the hell, right? How long did it take for LeBron to become a top 5 player? Be for real. Like 3 years?
Yeah.
By
Even
year 3, he was
year
like,
3,
he was
James
top
was the
5.
player.
Year 4, he was like the best player in the league, but top 2. And it was
2007, Mars. He was in the conversation. But in 2007,
I mean, I was on board, but I was on board.
2009, baby.
In 2007, I didn't think he was the best player in 2007.
I wouldn't be having the conversation.
And I don't even
In
think
2007,
he
he was in the conversation. I don't think he was the best player in the league in 2007. No, I don't think so. But the conversation started.
He was top 3
especially because they went to the NBA championship. He was in the conversation.
I mean, people will definitely have the conversation. I just know if I was around, I wouldn't have been one of them. But I can understand that. Wemby's last 45 games, he averaged 23, 11, 4, and 4.
There you go. And what was his box plus minus in those games? Like 9, 9.5?
What was it?
Almost a 10? Are you kidding me?
I'll look. I didn't know I was actually going to be asked to find that. But
almost a 10. What are we doing, man? Stop playing.
Yeah, so and I mean we've seen him in the Olympics too. He had a summer where he got a chance to go rumble with the best around the world. Like I expect Wemby to come back much better this year than he was last year, and
100%.
that's saying a lot.
I think we're having a conversation about a guy that in terms of the league MVP or in terms of Wemby, I think that's what we're going to be looking at this season, like with the league MVP. I think it's going to be somebody that we're not talking about. This is going to enter the conversation, kind of like what happened with SGA, who just entered the conversation the next year. I think that's what's going to happen this year. It's going to be somebody who just opened up the door and just came in and sat down like, oh shit, what are you doing here? Just like that.
All right, I got some super chats, so we're gonna go ahead and get into these.
Yep.
If you guys remember the last time that Penn was on the episode, he said that he can name 50 better passers than Russell Westbrook. I'm gonna read some of these super chats, and we are going to get into that right after that. And then also Bradley Beal made some comments about the Bucks, and me and Ox have a conversation that we need to get down to the bottom of with that as well. But you muted, Ox.
Penn, I want to say I woke up for this list.
Bro, I got a surprise for you, Ox. I didn't come up with 50. I came up with 60.
Oh man. All right, well here we go. I'm gonna read off some super chats and we're gonna get to it. Jamal Williams has been a member for 12 months. He said, does Bam have a valid argument for being the best defender in the league? That boy be looking like KG out there sometimes, for real. Hopefully Spo plays Ware out there with him so we can see him at the 4.
Well, I think Ware starts.
No, I doubt that. But I think he has an argument. I don't think he is the best personally, but he has a case. Don't think he looks like KG. But I don't think many people look like KG. That's hard to beat. But definitely has an argument. If someone says Bam's the best to them, I wouldn't look at him sideways.
I don't hate that. No,
Yeah.
I don't.
Nate R said L panel dub host.
Nope. He flipped that around. He said dub panel L host. Garbage.
Oh.
Trash.
I'm tripping, chat.
Garbage.
Weak as hell.
I'm bugging y'all. My bad. It's been a long
Trash,
morning.
Ox. Get him out of here.
Sent through a members chat. He's been around for 5 months, or she's been around for 5 months. He or she. I said, so Kyle Lowry over Steve Nash.
Based on what? Like, I don't
So
think
that's
doing that.
It was three.
No.
It was like 3 or 4 Nimrods in the chat that got to talking about. Oh, so he's basically saying he's better than Steve. That wasn't even the conversation we had. You know what I'm saying? Y'all got to listen to the whole entire thing. When we was in elementary school and they was teaching us about comprehension and how to use your comprehension skills, you shouldn't have skipped that day.
Is he better than Steve Nash?
No, Rajon is though.
Yeah, of course.
Mello Williams has been a member for 9 months. Mello said Lowry better than Rondo and Gobert. That list is sus.
No, I don't think so.
I
Sorry,
agree.
Melo.
Lowry's better than Randall. I don't know about Rudy, but he's better than Randall. Wemby's box plus minus those last 45 games was 8.2.
That's like 8 plus minus. What the fuck, man?
Yeah, he was.
Who's doing that?
By the way, and for
That's
anyone
good.
who doesn't
That's
understand
good.
that number,
Very,
8
very
is
good, very
basically an all-time. 8 to 10 is an all-time. So that's a rookie.
Ox, guys who got like +8 box plus minuses, that's like Lajuan, Jordan, like James. Like
Olajuwon, no. Olajuwon did not get 8+.
2020 LeBron had an 8.4 for reference.
2020 James.
This is worth noting. I don't think Olajuwon ever had an 8 box plus minus ever.
Ever?
I'm 99% sure he never did.
Maybe
Jordan did almost every single year. Olajuwon never did.
Now remember, we're talking about we're talking about a stretch. We're not talking about the whole
surprised.
season. We're talking about a stretch from January to April, and that 4-month
He peaked
stretch.
at 7.5 and 93.
Right.
There we go.
Now that's for the season, Mars. We ain't talking about for a 3-month or 4-month.
Yeah,
stretch.
there might be a
Like,
45 game
Yeah.
stretch where he's above 8.2.
Yes, that's what we're talking about here.
But the fact is, I'm talking about a rookie.
Yeah, he's
like
he's
a
really good.
dude who just
I've never
got the
seen a
job.
rookie
That's
do
big
that
deal.
in my
That's a
life.
big
I've
deal.
never seen a rookie
He's
do that. for
very
40.
good.
Yeah, a dude who just got the job. That's a pretty big deal.
You know what the problem is? Everyone tuned into Wemby for the first month of the season. The Spurs were ass. They were hard to watch. They formed an opinion and they tuned out. That's the problem. That's the problem with how people see him right now. Wait till people see him this year.
That was the NBA's problem though, because they pushed him so hard. Him coming into the league,
They should have been pushing him hard. They
no,
knew what he was
they
gonna
should
become.
they should have, but it's like I don't know, and the people aren't going to watch it with the grain of salt. Well, not I don't want to say grain of salt, but they're not going to watch it objectively, knowing that okay, this kid's 20 years old. This is his first year here. This kid has a lot of growing to do. All they see is he's a 7'5" phenomenon that can shoot the ball, he can dribble, he can do this, and that. And so, like, they're not, he block shots. They're not going to see that, okay, it's things that he has to learn. He's not just going to step in and all of a sudden be year 10 him.
All right.
Yeah, but I was enjoying watching that January to like March Spurs.
Of course you were, Mars.
Yeah, that was fun. Wemby was shooting like 40%, pull up threes. I was like, oh, this is nice. I like this.
Heat versus haters sent through a members chat. He said, who else is excited to watch Bam shoot 38% from 3?
We all would be if that happened. That'd be great. Is Bam going to shoot 38 from 3? I don't know. Depending on how many shots he takes.
Probably going to take about 2 a game. Something like that.
I'm good with that.
Thank you, Sean. Sent through a members chat. He said, shout out to my favorite L host of the decade.
Garbage.
Ron.
Trash.
Well, at least you got a shout out.
In facts.
Garbage. Weak as hell in the words of my man Big Ox. Weak as hell.
Hoops Never Stops became a member. And with this being said, yo, Big Ox, speaking of being weak as hell, you ready for this weekend?
Yeah, I think so.
You think so?
My game travels, bro. Y'all keep saying that.
Okay.
My game travels. I don't gotta get ready for nothing, bro. We talking about basketball. This shit ain't nothing.
Yo, so to all of our followers in the Big Apple, the great New York City, we will be up there to play in a basketball tournament this weekend.
It's called Hoops for Harris. It's a basketball tournament for Kamala Harris. And it will be a lot of different influencers and content creators there playing in this tournament as well. Our Players' Choice team happens to be Big Ox, Dale. Y'all know Tremaine. He's been up here a couple times. Tremaine Dalton, he'll be on our team, and also me as well. We'll be in New York this upcoming Saturday. The tournament starts at 11. If you in the New York City area, pull up and support and show out and watch us go do what we do.
Ron, keep that MAGA hat at home too.
Yo, don't expose my political views.
You might get jumped, Ron, in New York. I'm just saying, B. It might get tricky for you in NYC, B. That's all I'm saying.
Don't expose what I got going on over here. Yo, Dagio, the God, became a member as well. Shout out to Dagio.
Welcome to the family, sir.
All of a sudden, said Kareem seems to be the general consensus number 3 player all time, and we need to move on from that respectfully. He had no comp in his prime and won most of his chips as the second or third option. Who wants to get him? Chill, do you want to get him? Because I get his
I'm gonna be honest, right? I'm gonna be honest.
Boom Mars too. Get him out of here.
I didn't even say what I said.
We already know what you're about to say.
Wait, can you bring it back up, or did you get rid of it? All right, so right. I did the last like 2 sentences. I think I don't care. But the idea that like when people have the GOAT discussion, it's usually MJ, LeBron, and Kareem. They're the big 3. Whatever order you have, that's usually the 3 they have. My issue is not with Kareem being 3rd or in the top 3, but I feel the idea of acting as if it's a big 3, I don't agree with.
And nobody else
100% a big 3.
I think a big one.
I think
low key a big one for real.
Whatever, you guys can believe what you want. I think personally, whatever way you want to measure it, MJ and LeBron have clearly separated themselves away from Kareem, in my opinion. If you want to say if you have him as GOAT, that's perfectly fine. But the idea that me personally, I just don't think he would be in that group to where he's so far ahead of 4 through 10 or 4 through 12 that he's in the first group of Bron and MJ. I don't agree with that. I think he's much closer to the next group of people than he is to the big.
So is it fair to say, Mars, that okay, Jay and James here, then it's Jabbar, then it's everybody else. You don't like that?
Now I know the way people phrase it is James, Jordan, Jabbar,
right?
Everybody else,
right?
And I don't agree with that. Me personally, you know how I feel about Bill Russell, but like just the general consensus for me, it should be, if we're going off the general populace, for me it should be James and Jordan, LeBron and Jordan, everybody else. That's how I think it should be. I think Kareem is closer to the group of Magic, Bird, Duncan, Kobe, whoever else you want to throw in there, than he would be to MJ and LeBron by the typical GOAT measures. You know how I rank. I don't rank the same way as everyone else. Right. But like by the typical GOAT measures of the achievements, the peak ability, the longevity, the accolades, the context to those accolades, when you start nitpicking like they do MJ and LeBron, I feel like Kareem is much closer to the next group than he is to those two. But he just doesn't get nitpicked to the degree they do, so he gets put into that top group. And I'm like, if they scrutinize Kareem like they scrutinize MJ and LeBron, they would move Kareem closer to the next group of people.
The only thing they're gonna try to say about Kareem is he played with Magic. But LeBron has made a million trades and did what he did.
They're going to say he missed the playoffs twice in his prime, ignoring the context as to why that happens, because this is what they do when it comes to MJ and LeBron. They're going to talk about that. Then they're going to talk about he only has 1 championship as the clear best player because 71 on the Bucks. And then they're going to say in 85 when he won another Finals MVP, he wasn't the best player on the team.
That's who is this today, Mark? Who's this day?
The general consensus. The general consensus.
The hell with them.
And I agree. I don't care about the general consensus, but I'm saying if they scrutinized Kareem like they scrutinized MJ and LeBron, the way they nitpick everything LeBron does, the way the LeBron fans go back and nitpick everything MJ did, if they did that to Kareem, they wouldn't view him as clear cut in the top 3. Now, I understand what having thirds, maybe, but they wouldn't view him as in that group. If they,
but see, Mars, here lies the problem with that. The problem is that it's actually a big 4. Y'all need to respect Tim Duncan. And I'm gonna leave that alone.
You're right. It happens to be Magic Johnson.
I mean, yeah, that's neither here nor there. And I want to clarify,
y'all need to respect Tim Duncan. That's
and I want to clarify,
Or
I'm
Kobe
not
Bryant.
the one taxing Kareem. I'm not the one taxing Kareem. I'm just saying, if the general public who ranked the way they do with the big three of LeBron, MJ, and Kareem, if they scrutinized him that way, they would rank him lower. I don't do those things, as everyone knows when I talk about how I rank, so it doesn't apply to me just in general.
And also, all of a sudden, you said that Kareem didn't play against no competition and all of that. Brother, you need to go do your research.
Do some homework.
In the year where Kareem won his first championship, he beat 3 Hall of Fame centers to do that. Nate Thurman,
Man,
Will
don't give me
Chamberlain,
Wes
Wes
Unseld.
Unseld. That's a Hall of Fame center. Yo, that's as Jokic beat 3 Hall of Fame centers. Actually, as a matter of fact, give me somebody that has beat 3 people at their
In
position.
year 2, Mars, by the way.
At their
Bam
position.
not gonna be in the Hall of Fame.
Give me three. Give me somebody.
Bam not gonna be in the Hall of Fame.
Bam's going to be in the Hall of Fame. Yes,
Rudy,
Maybe,
AD, and Bam.
maybe.
Rudy, AD, and Bam.
there you go.
Has Jokic even beat a 150 win team?
I'm cooked. Damn. But how many wins did the Bullets have in 71?
I don't know.
50.
Let's see.
50?
Let's see. He was there, so I was there for that 50th point.
I was not there for that. The year he showed up.
They won 42 games, man. I'm not moved. 48 win Lakers team, 41 win Warriors team. See, if they scrutinized it like they scrutinized today, he played a 42 win team in the finals. 6-7 center.
Hold on. How many games did they play though? They weren't 42 and 42.
They were 42 and 40. 82 game season.
It was 82 games. It's always been an 82 game.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. See, this is my point. If they went back and looked at Kareem's 71 championship, I was like,
hey man, you beat who's in front of you.
In the fight,
You beat who's in front of you. He swept them too.
If they scrutinized him the way they scrutinized MJ and LeBron, he would move down. That's what
those teams had to beat somebody to get to the championship.
Mars, that was a different time. That was before LeBron started doing the super team thing, and that was before there was a top heavy. It was more even in that day.
I'm just saying, man. They don't hold him to the fire like they do MJ and LeBron, and I know why they don't do that because they know he would come down with this. That's
yeah, but y'all need to
They
respect.
actually do hold him to the fire. That's why he's where he is.
They don't talk about Kareem. Those like you ask most, because most of these people, they're stupid. Respectfully, most of them, they're stupid. Like they have their top 10 memorized, and it's just gonna be some assortment of MJ and LeBron will be 1 and 2. They'll have Kareem third, and then there'll be some assortment of Magic, Bird, Kobe, Duncan, and they'll end up having like Hakeem at 10, and then Shaq at like 9 or something, or they'll have Hakeem over Shaq. It's the same top 10, just regurgitated between them. They'll swap a few guys around. And then you ask them why, and then they'll just
serious right now, Mars?
That's what they
Mars,
have.
are you serious right now?
That kind of sounds like
wait. You're gonna sit here and tell me that nobody holds Kareem's feet to the fire.
No,
when
people
you and your,
do.
When you and your boys
do. I'm talking about the general public.
Boys up. Both of them.
I'm talking
Both
about
of them.
the general population.
it was a campaign, Ox.
Okay,
I'm
It was a
talking-
campaign.
I'm
The campaign.
talking
about the
for
general
5-6 straight
population.
months.
The
Okay,
general
Mark.
population
All right, you're right.
doesn't hold Kareem to the fire like they do MJ and
Until-
LeBron.
But
They
people
did
listen
it-
to you.
They did it until you and
Yeah,
your
people-
boys
People
went on a
100% listen to you,
6-month
Mars.
campaign.
It was
trying
longer
to
than that.
convince us A 2-year campaign.
You need to stop
trying
blaming me for that. I
convince
never called him a fraud. I never called him a fraud.
You might not have said fraud, but hold on, no. You poured kerosene on top of the fire. You were throwing gas or you were throwing all that stuff on the fire. You were keeping it going.
Mars, you didn't start the fire, but you damn sure didn't put it out.
I mean, you guys can go back.
No, you 100% added to the fire. 100%.
If you want to go back and watch those episodes, you'll see me disagreeing with some of the stuff being said. But it's fine. Some of it is just objectively true.
Association.
Yeah, fine. Guilty by association mean what you want. I'm saying the general public don't hold Kareem to the fire. If they did, he would get taken out of that tier one.
If you looked at,
that's what I think.
He might get elevated in the tier one.
You and your man.
If you did more research, you might get elevated.
Yeah, but they don't do research. They just look at it on the surface. It's gonna be like he missed the playoffs in his prime, back to back on 2 different teams. He won a championship against a 42-win team. He only went to the finals twice in the 70s. Like that's what they're gonna say. Like that's how it works. They just start nitpicking nonsense with no context. They do that to MJ and LeBron. They just don't do it to Kareem. They don't hold Kareem to the same standard of the GOAT, but they'll put him in that group with MJ and LeBron. That's the point.
All right, Pin. It's about that time. You ready?
Yes.
All right.
You got the list compiled?
Yes, I do.
You got Kareem on that list?
Off, right? We can't just.
Do I got Kareem on that list? No.
Yeah.
Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
Okay. The reason I came up with 60 is because I know there's going to be some pushback on some of these.
Mm-hmm.
So to anybody who's going to say, oh, no to 1, no to 2, just know I'm listing 60. So you got to say no to 10, and then you got to start subtracting them. My goal with this list and my goal with the initial talking point was that I think Russell Westbrook's very overrated as a passer. Is he a top 50 passer? If you have him 45th, 44th, I'm not too mad at it. But tell me which of these players he's better than. Let's go down the list. Nikola Jokic, Magic Johnson, LeBron James, Jason Kidd, Steve Nash, Mark Jackson, Rajon Rondo, Andre Miller, Rod Strickland, Kyle Lowry. I think I'll get some pushback on Kyle Lowry. I don't give a shit.
I'm keeping a tally of the names I disagree with.
Okay. Chris Paul, Bob Cousy, Deron Williams, Lenny Wilkins, Luka Doncic, Draymond Green, Arvydas Sabonis, Domantas Sabonis, James Harden. Did I put James Harden twice? No, I didn't. My bad. Okay, I got James Harden.
I'm never going to entertain Cousy. I'm just going to let him
Manu Ginobili, Nate Archibald, Tiny Archibald, Larry Bird, Scottie Pippen, Baron Davis, Lonzo Ball, LaMelo Ball, Tyrese Halliburton,
LeVar Ball.
Nope, not LeVar Ball. Tyrese Halliburton, Trae Young, Ben Simmons, Mike Conley. This one's gonna catch some people. The next two are gonna catch people, get people very angry. Malik Monk and Josh Giddey.
The top 5 half-court playmaker. The top 5 half-court playmaker.
Oh yeah.
All right, y'all. Let me know y'all want me to in the stream. Just
the
put a thumbs up or whatever.
We keep going because these. I promise I didn't leave the weak ones for the last because it's a consistent list. John Stockton, Tim Hardaway, Ricky Rubio, Gary Payton, Pistol Pete Maravich, Scotty Barnes, Milos Teodosic, Oscar Robertson, Isaiah Thomas, TJ Ford.
Which one?
Isaiah Thomas, the Detroit one. TJ Ford, Bill Walton, Bill Russell, Tracy McGrady, Kevin Garnett, Chris Webber, Jason Williams, Terrell Brandon, Kevin Johnson, Brevin Knight, Jamal Tinsley, Kevin Porter, Nick Van Exel, Darius Garland, Tony Parker. I'm a little bit iffy about the next 3: John Wall, Michael Jordan, Wilt Chamberlain, and then I'm gonna put Ty Lawson as my last one.
You're still sticking with the John Wall stuff? I definitely disagreed with more. I definitely disagreed with more than 10. I can just.
Me too.
Okay.
I'll probably disagree with like 5 or 6.
Ben Davis.
That's fine.
But that wasn't ever the list.
But Mars, here's a question. You disagree with more than 20?
I don't know. You went a little bit too fast for me to like really start. There was some people I'd have to like actually think about more than just hearing it instantly.
No Steve Francis.
But by your measure of passing, because I'm gonna go with how you do. I'm not gonna be like, oh, have you passing this way? So I disagree. By what you said with passing, I still think there's about 10 names that I think are maybe.
Okay, so drink more water saying Brandon Knight. I did not say Brandon Knight. I said Brevin Knight.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you said Brandon Knight.
No, Brevin Knight.
Did you say you didn't say Jameer Nelson?
I didn't, but he's like 61. Jameer Nelson, Boris Diaw were close cuts for me.
Oh, Boris should have been on the list.
Boris a better pass than some of the guys you said. But
okay,
and
let's add those two as well. That's 62.
Automatically just not Bob Cousy. I'm sorry. I'm just
Baron Davis neither.
I'm just not gonna do that.
You don't think B Diddy was up there?
No.
No, I think Baron Davis. I don't know why you'd say Baron Davis, but then not say Stephon Marbury. But
you could put Stephon Marbury in there, bro. There's no limit to how long this list can be. The whole point of this list is to point to the fact that Russell Westbrook is not a top 20 passer. I see every single list. I see him. He's top 20, top 30. I'm like losing my mind. I'm like, okay. So if I say he's not top 50, maybe someone's going to call me an idiot and say, he's better than this guy. Can you tell me he's better than 15 guys on this list? Better yet, I just named 60. So in order for him to be a top 20 passer, here's some math for the chat losing their mind right now. You got to tell which 40 players on this list he's better than. Good luck.
By your Okay.
Each and every one of them.
By your
Did you
measure,
cry in the corner?
By your measure,
Ron is crying off camera right now. It's so funny.
I mean, if you say that 60 passes better than Russ, I mean, people not going to agree.
Obviously, I don't think there's 60 passers better than Russell Westbrook. I think there are, however, like 44 to 45. I threw 15 on the wall just for fun, but hey, man, I'm trying to say the next time you see Russell Westbrook on a top 20 passing list, push back. It's stupid. He's not that good.
I feel like
he's a really good passer. He's not that.
Wait, Pin. See, Pin, you didn't even.
He's top 5.
Yes.
Is that what you're saying? He's top 5?
Yes.
Oh, you're crazy.
You're crazy. Don't say that no more.
He has never been top 5.
What? Time out. So what's crazier? And I'm about to run a poll. To say Russ is a top 5 point guard or top 5 passer all time, or to say he's not top 60? Which one?
I didn't say.
I'm gonna be honest. I think they're
60.
both. I think they're both ridiculous. If I'm being honest, but I would rather listen to someone say Russell Westbrook's a top 5 passer than say he's not top 60. I would rather listen.
Top 5 is insane.
But I didn't say he's not top 60. I just threw 60 names on the board.
But I'm not gonna lie. I think top 5
I just said I think he's like right around there. My point is, one extreme requires another extreme to balance. So if you're gonna say Russell Westbrook's a top 5, top 10 passer of all time, I'm gonna say he's not top 60. I'm gonna give you 60 names.
And I'm just
so
gonna
you
meet
got
in the middle.
40 to weed through.
There you go.
Yeah, because top 5.
The middle's top 15.
Bro,
Top five is
so obviously
What?
wrong. Top 5 is so obviously wrong. It's
Top 60 so obviously wrong. It's
Okay,
insane.
but
and you
but
sitting
it-
over here tap
I didn't say
dancing for
top 60.
tap dancing for
I said top
look
60.
at
I
you.
think
You couldn't wait to
wrong.
get behind this.
Yeah.
Chill, this man, chill. He couldn't wait to get up here and hate on Russell Westbrook.
Be mad.
You couldn't wait to do this.
I'm not. Hey, I didn't make.
Talking
the
about
list.
I woke up looking forward to this list, Pin.
Hey, but look, Pin, you didn't even mention Bano. Like you forgot.
You see what I'm
Bano
saying,
went
Chill?
on.
Come on. You see what I'm saying?
Facts. Jose Calderon, man.
You forgot
Jose
Bano. You
Calderon
forgot
was
Jose. You forgot Grievous.
Grievous
Pablo
Vasquez,
Prigioni,
a little bit
Pablo
overrated.
Prigioni.
Ox, you know you take
Turnover
years off
prone.
my life when you do stuff like this, Ox. You do know
What?
that, right?
Grievous
Vasquez
and
is a really
Bano.
good passer.
That's
He's not. I don't know if he's better than Russ though. Look, I needed
Grievous
to
is
stay somewhat
certified,
consistent.
too. Grievous is
Let me
certified.
tell you one guy who never ever gets mentioned in the top 20 passers list, Kevin Porter, and he should. He really should. Right?
No.
I mean, we're
Leading
talking
assists in the
13.4 assists per
Yeah, he led the
game with
league in
4
the
turnovers
70s. Yeah,
in
okay.
78, 79, and I don't hear people talking about this guy. I really don't. I'm sorry. There's a lot of passers.
It's because it's Kareem's
Luke
era.
Rimauer's a
Everyone
great
care
passer.
about
That's
that
another
era,
one.
man.
So, Ox, you make your own list. Shit, you probably get to 100.
Y'all got super chats to get to, y'all.
Please, Ron. Thank you.
Not talking about Luke Rittenhour is crazy.
Paolo
No, it's not.
say no Mike Bibby, no or Jason Williams. I did say Jason Williams. I didn't say Mike Bibby though.
Mike Bibby
And I didn't say Doug Christie.
Mike Bibby and Russell Westbrook are not in the same stratosphere. It's
Neither
not
is
the
Luke
same
Rittenhour.
planet. It's not the same
Luke Rittenhour
galaxy.
neither.
I didn't say Mike
Solar
Bibby.
system.
What about
Rittenhour neither.
Kirk Henry?
Neither
What about
Kirk,
Kirk Henry?
Kirk Heinrich neither, Ron.
You ain't
Go ahead,
saying
Ron.
Dwayne Wade? You don't think Dwayne Wade a bad passer?
Then Russ? No, I don't.
I'm talking to Pat. I'm surprised he said Michael Jordan. I'm surprised he didn't say Dwayne Wade.
Drink more water. Said, what attribute of defense is most universally needed? I think having fast feet is the most important for perimeter D and rim protection.
Did I say Kendall Marshall? I didn't say Kendall Marshall. Damn.
But you ain't say
Being
Tell me.
an athlete is very important, Ron. But if you're an athlete and you're not that smart, you can kill us. So I think having it upstairs,
Yeah, like
because I can teach you just like rebounding. I can teach you how to block out. Like I can teach you how to slip blockouts. I can teach you how to get position. At the end of the day, stick your nose in there and go get the basketball. Drop your feet, get your feet moving, get your hands busy.
Yeah,
One of my biggest things with defense is motor. Like you got to actually be out there really trying. Like a lot of
I've
defenses.
seen LaMelo trying in preseason.
So you've seen LaMelo cooking in preseason too.
He made a couple shots.
I see we're gonna downplay Melo this year too, but all right. Michael Haynes said, in you guys' opinion, how can the DPOY selection process get better?
For the masses,
let me pick it.
For the masses, it could get better by just picking the best defensive player in the game, like they do in baseball. The MVP of the National League is the best player in the league. I don't care if you're the third best team, if you're the seventh best team. It's the best player in the league. And I think that's what people want because that's what's attached to it.
They'd have to go back through history and change it, which I'm perfectly fine with, but that's what they'd have to do.
Taking away awards from people who are dead, you fine with that?
No, you don't take theirs away. You remake the award. So you got MVP before Logic, MVP BL, and then MVP AL after Logic. So then we get the new MVP winners, who are the actual best players in the league, and then they can start having
It's like a iPhone 6.
Yeah, that's what you need. So they can still have like that Wes Unseld MVP. It's just he got a BL MVP. That's what he got before Logic. Yeah.
Ray Star said the finals is set. Lynx versus Liberty. Who wins? I need predictions from all of y'all.
Liberty do it this year. I do. I think the Liberty do it this year.
Yep. Liberty.
Ox
in 5.
Well, the Liberty already beat the best team, so I assume that the team that beats the best team will win the championship.
Mars.
Mars ain't a WNBA guy. So.
Caitlin Clark.
Yeah, Mars.
She's home.
WNBA guy, so
she got eliminated.
Yeah, she still won.
Yeah.
All right. Hemi said, keep trolling. We got 6'10 Clay. Ricochet, rookie of the year.
I ain't watched that game. I seen there was a game winner. I ain't watched that game, but I might go back and watch it because it looked like it was a good game. So.
Ricochet looked nice too. I liked what I seen. In
the GM
Friday
survey saying that Reed Shepherd's going to be the best player in this class.
No, he is.
And he's the top 15 shooter in the league already. He should be better than Kyrie.
Yeah. And MPJ. On Friday, we will be doing the Rookie of the Year, Most Improved, and one of them other awards too. But pull up on Friday so we can get into all of that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Hans Walker said Ryan Dunn is moving me.
I'm not shooting like 50% from 3. He's shooting like 50% from 3. That's fake as far as I'm concerned. But
dude, the Suns are going to surprise some people.
He banked in a free throw too.
Lee Mack said, "Can you say Rodman was the anchor for the Bulls?"
No,
because he wasn't. He was the defender still, but he wasn't the defender that he used to be. No.
Yeah, I think it was Scotty.
The Tribe One said, "Anchor to me means paint protection, not best D." Ray Starr said, "Who wins the WNBA Finals MVP?" I'm going with Fee.
Sounds like you're gonna have to pay a fee.
Stewie.
I think it's Stewie.
Caitlin Clark.
She's not in it, Mars.
But people are watching the sport, so Caitlin Clark's the MVP.
Breezy said, "AD same as Luka. Too good, too early. Media don't care."
You know what's crazy? If you did a fan vote for MVP of the finals, Caitlin Clark would win it. That's
exactly. That's what I'm saying.
She would. Y'all ain't even watching it. You put Caitlin Clark name up there, it'd be like 80%.
That's what I'm saying. So she the real MVP.
And that's the
Mars is up here representing 80% of Caitlin Clark's fan base.
I'm the general population, the slow people.
You're like a middle-aged white woman from Iowa.
Like how you said earlier. That's a very good point. My thing is the quality of the view. Like if you got Nimrods watching, you know what I'm saying? Like there's no quality in that view.
Plenty of Nimrods watch the NBA, man.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I understand that.
Hoops never stops. Said Embiid is overrated defensively.
No, overall. He isn't.
Yeah, I'm gonna not agree with that. I think
no, he is not. Mm-hmm.
I think he's drastically underrated defensively.
Mm-hmm. He might not be consistent as a defender, but he ain't overrated. No, Embiid when he plays is elite as a defender. So that's just not true.
Embiid is one of the few people who I think has an argument to be a top 5 offensive and defensive player in the league.
Yes.
That's how good I think he is.
Mars, when I say that I think that Embiid is good enough to take his team to the NBA championship, I mean that. Not just because he got a money mid-range game. No, it's because of everything else he does. I think he's that good. I just think he made a glass. That's all.
Are we healthy this year, though? No one.
You're muted, Ron. We can't hear you, Ron. And maybe that might be a good thing. That might be a good thing. Yeah, that might be a good thing. My fault.
Last but not least, Mo sent through a super chat. He said, "Dub show, Hargo looks great. Dub Mars, Dub Ron."
I tried to watch that game, and it said the game wasn't being televised. So I couldn't even push my Ben Simmons propaganda because they wouldn't let me watch the game. So whatever Ben Simmons did doesn't count.
Maybe that might be a good thing.
Yeah, whatever Ben Simmons did yesterday doesn't count because I ain't get to see it. So I couldn't push
maybe that might be a good thing that you couldn't push that propaganda, Mars.
Hey, I'll be there for the next preseason game if they let me watch it. I'm gonna be pushing my propaganda then. Don't worry.
All right, y'all be sure to join the Players' Choice Telegram group chat. It's pinned at the top of the chat. Go join. We all in there debating 24/7. We have good conversations and all of that good stuff in there. Join that. Follow us on all socials, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram. And last but not least, we will be back tomorrow to talk about the 30 best coaches in the NBA or to rank all 30 coaches in the NBA. So y'all be sure to pull up.
We will be back with this dude, unfortunately, but all right.
Which one? Who, Ron?
This one over here. No, not this one. The other one. Nope, not him. No, not him. Not him neither. Nope. Keep going. Keep going. Yeah, that one right there. That dude. In the words of my man Ox, weak as hell.
All right, y'all. We'll be back tomorrow. Y'all be easy. Like the video on the way out. Subscribe, comment, all of that good stuff. Become a member. We'll see you tomorrow.
Later.